The Arizona podcast is brought to you by Triumph Protective Coatings. They specialize in concrete polish, epoxy flooring systems, micro top floors and walls, and self-leveling underlays. They service all of California, and they are an awesome company. They speak Spanish, and they do amazing work. Check them out at Triumph_coatings on Instagram. And if you use the promo code ARROWSUP, you get 10% off. So check them out. Arrows Up podcast. We recorded this one on Sunday. So held it. It was a fun one. We had five mics going. A lot of fun. Shout out to the guys for doing it. It was nerd culture, fandom, and sports fandom, and just the differences. Who's more accepting? A lot of fun. We're gonna do like 2 more of these because we left so much on the table. So it was just like the entry. We're celebrating David's birthday. Shout out to him. But I wanted to do a little NBA on the top because the West had their playing games today, and there was Champions League. So let me start with the Champions League. What a beautiful night of European football. Beautiful night. We went into this week with Dortmund and Atletico playing today, and Barca PSG. You had Dortmund and Atletico played to a 2-1 in Madrid last week, where the late goal for Dortmund was one of those where you're like, maybe that would mean something. Not great if you're Atletico. And just from the very beginning, it was Dortmund was just going for it. And we've seen Atletico before, and Atletico doesn't like to go for it. Like, Atletico loves to rely and live on their defense, and they die a lot of times, especially in the highest and the biggest competitions. They die on that defense because there's just not enough offense. And we saw it with Real Madrid last week too. Like, as soon as you let another team control the ball more, get more chances, create opportunities, you may be better. You may create more clear opportunities, and that's what Simeone said today, that Atletico had created better opportunities at goal. It doesn't matter. Like, it comes to a point where the amount of opportunities just gets too much, and eventually 1, 2 get in. And if you only have 4 very clear opportunities, but you only convert 1, well, you're going to lose by those numbers. So Dortmund wins at home 4-2, 5-4 in aggregate. It was a wonderful game, good game. Atletico was given life by Hummels, his own goal there, and then Correa just hits, scores a really good goal out of nowhere. But Dortmund responded, and they win 4-2, advance, and they play PSG. PSG, they lose 3-2 at home to Barcelona last week. They didn't look all that great. Barcelona looked really good. And from the very beginning, you had Araujo in the 30th minute, who gets the red card, but Rafinha gets to go in the 12th minute, and you think, like, here we go. Barcelona's going to just close the door. And after the red card to Araujo, Barcelona just crashed, and they caved, and Mbappe had a brace, and if you don't know what that is, that means he has 2 goals. Dembele had a goal, and he had just a photo of the night where he's on the bench and he's like with a big old smile. And Vitinha hit a nice one from deep, 4-1 at Camp Nou, or Spotify Now, I guess I would call it. I'm not gonna lie to you, as a Real Madrid fan, I am super happy that both Barcelona and Athletic are out. So that's took place today. And I think the biggest lesson we learned from these two teams being out is that when it comes down to winning a giant tournament like this, and when it comes down to where things get tight and you need to produce over and over and over again, at the end, you need the players that are going to rise to the occasion. You need the players that have the backbone to keep going. And there was a opportunity for Lewandowski where they could have gotten a goal back, and he went for it instead of making the right play. And one of the things we saw from PSG, especially after, especially even before the Araujo's sent off, and obviously after, clearly, because they have one less guy. But one of the things you saw from PSG was that they were smart and they were willing to take the smart play, and that's how they killed Barcelona. And for Atletico, the same thing. Dortmund was just going forward and just attacking, figuring that, if we get in here 10 times, we just need a few scratches, and if we scratch 3, then we're good. And they scratched 4. So, and obviously they needed that just because of the 2 goals. But, it was just, they attacked so much, they were so relentless, and they just created those opportunities. So Xavi is adamant that he's not coming back, even though his players want him back. Simeone, at this point, I don't know what it would take for him to leave, for Atletico to let him go. I just think it's just his style doesn't translate, or hasn't translated, to winning in Europe at the highest level, because you can't babysit a lead and in the highest level. You can't sit on it. We've seen this with every team that's ever blown a lead. A lot of it is you didn't keep going, and I know it's a different mentality to have when you're up, and it's easy to say that, but it's tough. It's a tough thing when you're an Atletico supporter, and year after year this happens. So if I was running Atletico, I would go in any direction. So you have to. You spend money, and you're competitive, and you're in La Liga. You need a new voice. You need a new philosophy if you're going to win in Atletico. So that's what happened today. Obviously tomorrow, Bayern, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Man City. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Some NBA before we start the pod. The Lakers were up by a lot versus the Pelicans. The Pelicans made it interesting. The Lakers held on 110-106. They get the Denver Nuggets, or the Nuggets of Denver, on Saturday night, game 1 in Denver. I said that the Lakers are going to win the title. They're going to have to play Denver. And we would rather get them early. Well, we're getting them early. There's no earlier than round 1 of the NBA playoffs. So I will talk about like the matchups with Gehrig. So I don't want to step too much on that, but it was the Lakers came out firing. So good to see Gabe Vincent out there because of his threes. D'Lo continues to shoot really well. So does Rui. There was really good playmaking by Reeves, which is going to be huge versus the Nuggets. And hopefully the Lakers stay healthy. So Lakers advance. The Kings beat the Warriors 118-94. No show by Clay. Maybe his last season as a Warrior. And you kind of knew that this was going to be the end for either the Lakers or the Warriors. One of these two teams, this was the end. And when things end for teams, it's never pretty. It's rare when a team gets sent off and it ends the right way, or the storybook ending. It just doesn't happen. Guys get old. Their shells are what they used to be, and they get, blown out by somebody, and that's how it ends. And, for this Warriors team, it was a hell of a run. The staff is still good enough for you to compete, but he needs help. And I think it's, for as much as they want to say that with Draymond this and Draymond that, and Draymond is the key, and I know Steph is like loyal to those guys because he's one with them. This is one of those things that the loyalty to those guys is going to cost them more chances at the title. The Warriors being more loyal to Steph, Clay, and Draymond is going to cost them the title, because Draymond drove Kevin Durant away, and he drove Jordan Poole away. And it's one of those things that whenever you consider building a championship team, you have to be loyal to winning, not to the players. And the Warriors, got loyal to the players, and in a sense, the wrong guys. So you should have been loyal to Steph no matter what, Durant, and everybody else could have been expendable, really, if you think about it. But that's how it is for the Warriors. The Kings move on, which I thought they were the worst team to make the playoffs, but I guess they haven't made it yet. I like the Pelicans to beat the Kings when they play. So tomorrow we get the East. We get the East playing game, so we'll see how that breaks down. But that was a full night of sports today. Good night of sports. So without further ado, this is Major Pod, Big Pod, David, Victor, Aaron, Dave, Angel, Kodo, and yours truly. Here we go. Arrows Up Podcast, packed. We have 5 mics?
Yeah, we do.
5 mics. Aaron is here.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
David is here again.
Yes, sir.
Victor's here.
Yo.
Kodo, Eliezer here.
Finally made the pod, guys.
Finally made it. Angel's here.
What's up, guys?
Jerry's here.
Yo.
David is here.
Yo.
So 2 Davids. A lot of fun. Happy birthday, David.
Thank you,
David. Happy
Appreciate
birthday.
it.
We wanted to do a huge nerd / sports pod just because those intersections are so common in our life, in our friendship, in our podcast,
right.
in our
circles,
in our circles, in the group chat. I get constant heat for not knowing references and names and
Characters,
and
phrases,
characters. I needed to
situations.
write a entire list of cartoon movies I've seen just so that I can be in the loop. I'm like Michael Scott. Can you explain that to me? Like if I'm 5, like what does that mean? Who is that person? Let's start here. What is nerd culture? What is that?
Culture of nerds.
Could you elaborate? No, I was about to hit you with like, could you give me the language of origin or it varies. It's broad, right? Sci-fi, fantasy, anime, comics, video games,
Right.
board games, card games. It's
And we're talking about it from the standpoint of entertainment. So obviously we're not entering the like academic nerd culture because that's like its own separate thing.
right.
And so that fandom is super interesting to me because it's super passionate. It's super purist. So you get the people that read the comic books, hate the movies because it's not according to this, and I can't believe this.
It wasn't true to the comics.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
you
bro,
get-
sit down.
They want the stuff that's canon. Like,
Yeah.
Is it canon? Is it not?
Right. You get the Star Wars people that. Well, what you guys love? What you guys love one and hate the other, right? What is it?
The prequels,
It varies.
the
It
sequels.
varies.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The fandoms can be divided. There's civil wars going on in the
For
fandoms.
the most part, though,
Yeah.
the sequels are agreed upon as being the lesser of all the
They,
content.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Before like the prequels were taking a lot of crap,
Yeah.
but now they're untouchable. I
They've been
guess.
accepted.
Yeah, they've
into
been
the- into the
accepted.
fold,
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I would like push back. I'd be like, I like the movies.
Yeah.
They're bad, but I like them. They have a place in my heart. And see, that's where you have like disagreements with like,
Right.
and with the sequels, because Disney, bought Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, whenever anything goes wrong with anything new Star Wars,
blame
they're like,
Disney.
they're like, oh, Disney. And they're like,
Yeah.
But when anything goes well, that excuse goes like to the wayside.
Right.
So like Rogue One, people like Rogue One, and they're like, oh, it's one of the few things Disney's done right, or Andor, Mando, right? So it's even within it's like Mandalorians. It's like who's like a true Mandalorian, and like what is the definition of Mandalorian? And people that again, Germans looking at me like, what is that? But it's
Yeah.
like for the nerds listening,
You might as
point.
well
Yeah,
be
that's a
speaking
good point.
Mandarin. at this
speaking
point.
like Latin, yeah, like what, like. But if you're listening and you're into this stuff, if you know what we're talking about, So
And then you get, because I've seen this. It seems like the lowest level of nerd culture, or the least respected, are the Marvel people, right? If you only like the Marvel movies, if that's all you watch, and that's all you're into, and you never read the comic books, everybody else, it's like a green light to crap on you because, like, you just watched, like, Endgame, so therefore you're not a nerd culture. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I would say
You're
so.
not as accepted.
Just because it's newer to the scene,
Right.
right?
It's so mainstream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you get the Dune stuff that just entered that's like older than Star Wars?
It goes back. I know Dune is. I've seen Star Wars, but I wasn't as immersed into it to kind of like understand absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But I know Dune was like 1960s.
Yeah.
So it's like well before my time. I was born in 95.
Yeah.
But even then, as a kid growing up, there wasn't really much, attention, paid to on Dune. I was like the only kid in school that was like actively reading the books,
Yeah.
and I wasn't like, I want to say like enamored with it to the point where I was telling everybody, hey, read it. I remember what was big when I was a kid growing up in elementary school. Harry Potter was big. People were going, to Barnes and Noble,
Yes.
lining up at Barnes and Noble the same
Right.
way people would line up for like a new release of Jay's. People were lining up to get the new Harry Potter book, especially if J.K. was on-site signing. So yeah, I feel like it's like I've seen like a contingent online. It's like, for example, when it came to Dune,
Right.
I've seen a contingent online of people that I probably otherwise would have never even heard of that were into that were into the series, and those people also brought up, it's like, oh, I read this as a kid, and some older people too that were a kid when not the movie, but when the books
Yeah.
were first being released.
Right.
And for them, it was kind of a come to moment watching, these movies between the time when Dune came out, like as a book series, to the time where they tried to do an on-screen adaptation for the first time, which didn't go well.
Oh, the 80s one?
Yeah.
The David Lynch
Yeah,
one? Was
yeah.
that David Lynch, Wherever You Are?
Yeah, I think it was.
It's bad. It's rough.
It didn't go well.
Yeah.
And movies were different.
Right.
Great movies in the '80s as well.
Yeah.
But Dune it just didn't work then. But to see it kind of finally come full circle, and having them come out, I think what's helped a lot. Obviously, production quality, it's just through the roof nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have TV series that look like movies now.
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
It's
The
just
budgets
insane.
are
They're
crazy
They're
now. Yeah, yeah.
astronomical. You know, a very good lineup of actors that each, I mean, you see in a movie like this, everybody played the role as you know, as good as they could. And kind of seeing the, you know, that fandom from back then, kind of seeing this thing come to circles, like, oh, finally people are kind of like embracing this.
Yeah,
You know, they're coming together. So, you know, on that note, when it came to Star Wars, I think on the Star Wars end, it's very interesting because you see Disney trying to kind of make it work for these newer generations.
Right.
Because I think Disney understands that, hey, for the people that are like purists when it comes to Star Wars, they're like, I don't think these new ones are going to attract, you know, that set of old school fans from Star Wars. We have to make it adaptable to the people that are going out right now.
Yeah.
The ones that are, you know, the younger guys, you know, generation, I mean, the millennials, so on and so forth. So I think Disney on their end is like, hey, how do we kind of
secure the future.
bring,
How do make it relatable?
Exactly,
You know?
make it relatable. But how is it that we could attain a new audience to establish kind of a new nerd culture,
Right.
in this new canon of Star Wars, in this new canon of Marvel, and so on and so forth. So, and that's when you see kind of like a clash of generations, where you see the older generations like, this doesn't work for me, bro.
Yeah.
Like Tito said, it's like, you know, we've seen the movies. I personally, I mean, I've seen all of the prequels that have come out and the sequels that have come out ever since, you know, Disney took it over.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of an influence George Lucas has nowadays in
I think
in
he
those
still like
movies.
consults a little bit,
Okay.
maybe, but he doesn't own.
No, but that guy's filthy rich. I don't
Yeah,
think.
he took the check and he's
yeah, he
like,
took the check. I'm out.
he's
dude.
like, I'm right off into the sunset. If
yeah,
you guys
I
wanna
did what I
find
had
me,
to do, and
Hire people talk to
Yeah,
my people, and I'll see what I can say.
like I said, you see a clash of generations, but I think Disney, there's still enough left, more than enough left over for them to have a voice to kind of apply some sort of influence in what Disney's doing. Disney's doing right now, because again, it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they're in the business to make money. That's why they made the big investment in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's why they've had a return. They've had a good return on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen them. You know, for me, I don't have much of a dog in this fight. Me personally, I saw them because, you know, I'm a fan of production quality.
Right.
I like seeing new ideas and new technologies being
For you, it was a lot
incorporated.
of more the aesthetic than it was the
Yeah, I mean the actual storytelling and the
Storytelling,
Right.
and the lineup of actors that they would use.
Yeah.
They're great. You know, they did their job as professionals. They did them well. I thought the movies. I thought the movies were watchable. I wasn't one of the ones who were like, no, well, you know, I don't like this because, you know. So on and
Aaron,
so
where do you
forth.
stand on that?
But-
I heard
Go
you.
ahead,
I heard
Carvel.
you.
Go ahead.
Come on, jump in.
There was a grunt. There was like,
Yeah,
"Ugh."
like,
He
yeah.
has to defend it.
I saw the air just like, oh.
I can't even. Man, I don't even know where to begin with that one because with episode 7, you know, a lot of the criticism was that I've already seen this. It's the same thing as episode 4. They just kind of, you know, everything is updated. New planet, new Death Star, new Vader. You know, new all this.
Sage Elder taking on like the young, like desert dwelling, like
Yeah. So a lot of these themes were carried over from what made the original Star Wars really great, and so, you know, the fans who when that movie first came back in theaters, for the fans who had seen all the original movies, all the prequels, you know, we're like, hey, we've seen this already. Like, this is a repeat of every, you know, of the original, like what made Star Wars great, and they're like they're just recycling it for the new audience, like you're saying, you know. And so, you know, entertainment-wise, sure, it's a good movie, and there are entertaining parts of it, but for the long-time fan, you feel kind of cheated because you're like, hey, I've been invested for decades now. At this point, if not multiple, at least one decade since whenever, like 2005 was, you know, when Episode 3 came out.
Right.
And you got about 10 years to the next one,
Yeah.
and you're like, what just happened? Like
But I think if you go up to Disney and say that, Disney's probably going to be like, well, your time passed, bro. I think that's what they're going to do.
We're catering to the younger generation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have the older generation who are, you know, for me as a kid, the older generation, the original Star Wars generation,
Right.
they were the ones who brought me into the fold. They're like, hey, look at Darth Maul, right? I was probably 5 at the time when 4 or 5 when episode 1 came out.
That's the guy with the.
Double-edged
Gotcha,
lightsaber,
Right.
laser sword.
Gotcha.
Laser sword. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, right, the older generation was the one who was already, they had that attachment to Star Wars, to the original story, and then a new Star Wars idea was presented with the prequels, and sure, they weren't, as great, everyone's not going to agree on how great they were, but they were original. And so that's cool, right? You can finally, not finally, but you can grow into that. But there's already a place for episode 7, and it's episode 4. Like, how are you going to replace episode 4?
Some people saw it kind of like cheap fan service. They're just like, oh, dude, this is, I mean, it's cute.
Right.
But it's like, you kind of wanted something a little fresh, because it's been long, right? It's been a long time since the actual movies came out. And then even in the story of Star Wars within itself, it takes place 30 years after the events of the last of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So for like Han Solo, like he's an old man now. Han Solo used to be like the gunslinger, smuggler, reluctant hero.
Right.
The I love you, and he's like, I know, babe. Like, and now he's like an old man. Like, and it's just like, oh, so it's so some people saw it and they're just like, oh, we've seen this. You're like recycling it,
So you do get obviously very passionate Star Wars. And then there's also the aspect of nerd culture that goes into Harry Potter, and that's like super
right. In
super
itself,
passionate.
It's a fandom,
And even in those, this is where you begin to see the book people, the movie people, the people that are married in the middle or meet in the middle, and you get the book people who, if you've ever read a book of any movie, the book is always better because it just. It's pages.
Dive into it a lot more, right?
Yeah,
right.
like you can create, and it's unlimited pretty much.
World building at its finest. Yeah.
And then you do the movie people, and the movie's always going to disappoint if you're the book person. And then there's people that are okay, and they're satisfied, and they meet in the middle. And so you see that a lot with like Marvel, right? You see that with DC.
Right.
DC has a lot of their comic books. Well, obviously, I'm speaking I'm in a realm that I don't really know. So, correct me, save
You're
me,
doing good.
save
Go ahead.
me.
Yeah. I got you.
DC comic books better than Marvel comic books?
You have different schools of thought.
Well, in this school, where we're at in this school.
I like DC because sometimes DC has the darker, grittier stories. Right?
Yeah. I agree with that one.
Yeah.
DC?
Yeah, DC.
Yeah. DC has and Marvel does have its shades of it, but Marvel is a lot more the characters are more vibrant.
If we're gonna put it in simple terms, it's I think it's kid friendly.
Right.
Marvel is.
Yeah, and Marvel can go to some dark stuff, but DC is it's mostly.
No, DC's been able to master the dark stuff.
Oh yeah, they specialize in that. You know what I mean?
Especially with the Joker.
They're the chicken place that does fried chicken. They're like, we do fried chicken, so.
Yeah.
And Marvel's like, we do nuggets. We do have some tenders and chicken pieces in the back, but it's but we do nuggets. You want dino nuggets? You want chicken fingers? We got something for everybody.
So nobody hears Marvel over DC.
I'm not. I'm a Superman guy
Okay.
through and through.
But would Marvel makes better movies than DC? Is that yes, no?
I mean, when you
Okay, Marvel, if I can put it in rap terms, Marvel is Drake. Marvel has wide reach. Marvel pop. Does someone disagree?
What was that?
What did he compare it to?
Marvel's Drake.
Marvel's Drake.
DC is
Yeah, I could.
you see what I mean? He's got the wide appeal. If Elijah, if you disagree,
I can see it. I
Yeah.
mean, good production value. He's always going to get backed up by the public, so it makes sense. I see the comparison.
DC's what?
Not only that, but Marvel is also backed up by Disney, which is
right.
a big,
Yeah. And so
big-
Disney understands that. They know the assignment.
enhance Star Wars.
You know, whatever name Drake has, he has pull, he has juice.
DC, I would say, is like a Kendrick or J. Cole. Like they're lyricists. They're about like the craft.
So if you're into the
like,
purist, you lean DC.
yeah.
Okay.
And there are Marvel guys that'll tell you like, I know this comic like that, you know, and yeah, it exists. Like if you guys know about like Old Man Logan, like that has some very dark elements. Like in the story, like just like to give you like a little review.
Yeah.
The bad guys win. The bad guys realize we outnumber heroes like X amount of people to 1. So they all band together. They beat the good guys. There's various good guys left, but America is, it's like a wasteland divided into 5 territories, each territory owned by a different villain. And Hulk goes bad. Hulk has like the West Coast. There's different guys. And so that story, like it's gory. You know, Wolverine's the main character.
Right.
And so it's a dark story. It's Marvel, you know, but it's like Marvel also has like Spider-Man, who's like a teenager in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He goes through like the daily happenings of a teenager.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, crappy job, but he's a superhero.
Right.
You know, so it's you know, it varies. You know.
So then you go Lord of the Rings.
Fantasy.
Right? You get into like the fantasy nerd culture aspect. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. I guess by extension, is that where you get like, I mean, for the lazy comparison, if we want to go there,
stand on it, bro.
I guess you throw in Game of Thrones, even though I think that's like super lazy, but they both have castles and a dragon, so I guess it is what it is.
Pretty much like anything medieval kind of stemmed from Lord of the Rings, right?
I was about to say, like, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
when
I
I
was
told you, like,
saying
the
anything
medium
medieval.
is similar. Not exactly like the stories,
Right.
but the mediums. It's like knights, armor,
Yeah.
swords made out of steel,
Archers.
There's like magical elements too,
Elves and
right?
stuff
And
like
there's
that,
varying
yeah.
degrees. Game of Thrones has like some magic,
Right.
some creatures,
Right.
dragons,
Right.
And Lord of the Rings has like
All of
elves,
it.
orcs, everything. You know.
Yeah, mashes through epic
Hobbits, you know, like-
epic sword fights, like on every on every single film. When it comes to fantasy, it's like they just abandon all magic, and it's just 2 knights with 2 swords just duking it out against each other
Right.
on the epic. On the epic battle. Again, an epic battle just abandons everything. Any
Right.
theme of sorcery, any dragon.
Yeah.
Completely out of the picture. It's just 2
Right.
guys with 2 ginormous knives.
Just going
See who,
at it.
you see who could shank the other one to death.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, a Game of Thrones. There's some elements of magic on that end. Elves. With the Hobbit.
Right.
With Lord of the Rings. But I mean, aside from when we're talking about film adaptations, which other
fantasy, medieval
fantasy,
kind of.
aside from
What
Lord
else
of
is
the
there?
Rings, I don't think I could put a name
Okay,
to it.
so I'm of the mindset, and I've gotten arguments with people, and I'm like, I see both sides, but I think it's like a mix. But so like Star Wars in itself
Is that
is
fantasy?
is sci-fi, right? Like you would think sci-fi, right?
Oh, so okay,
But-
gotcha.
but-
So that's like Star Trek. Anything in space,
right.
that's
It's
sci-fi?
like there's ships,
That's
there's
sci-fi, yeah.
aliens, laser guns, laser swords, but futurism, yeah.
Oh, so
but
the
then,
technology makes it sci-fi.
right, yeah, that too. But then Star
Utopia,
Wars
okay.
also has the Force, which is like, how do you? The Force it's one of those things that in the Star Wars universe, because there's a scene in the first Star Wars, right, where Han Solo's like downplaying the Jedi, the
Right.
Force, because the era he grew up in, the character didn't see the Jedi. He thought the Jedi were like a myth. He was like, oh, it's mumbo jumbo, it's BS, right?
Yeah.
And so he's talking to Obi-Wan, who is a Jedi, and he's like, I'm telling you it's not fake, right?
Yeah.
And so the Force is like a magical force, like no pun intended. So it's like it's a fantasy-esque thing in a sci-fi setting. And so I've heard guys that are like, I think Star Wars is sci-fi. I think it's fantasy. And I'm like, it's got a little bit of both. Like there's Jedi Knights, but it's in a sci-fi.
I think it's. I mean, the
format,
Force
you know?
is I think one of the elements that does make Star Wars what it is. But I just think it's a lot more sci-fi than Force.
For
Force
sure.
comes out.
For
You
sure.
know, Force.
Angel,
I think
sure.
Force defines what Star Wars is, especially in those epic moments. But the movie, it's plastered with
Right. of
Yeah,
course.
with fleets,
Yeah.
with planets that could blow up other planets. Through freaking lasers, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had a coworker that she was like, and for a minute, I thought I was stumped because she brought up this point, and I was like, okay, you got me there. But then I thought about it, and I was like, no, that doesn't define it. She was like, no, even the Force, which this is what I'm about to mention is the thing that people hate about the prequels. But midichlorians, if you guys know about midichlorians, right? People were bummed out about midichlorians because they think it makes the Force less of like a mystical thing and more of like a scientific thing. But then I told my coworker, I thought I was stumped, and I was like, wait. If you hear what they say in the movie, Qui-Gon says the midichlorians commune with the Force. So it's like the midichlorians aren't the Force. Like, they just happen to...
Yeah, they're connected to the whole
They're connected.
universe,
So, like, even then, you still don't know what the Force is. You still can't define it. The midichlorians can just talk to whatever it is.
I mean, spoiler
Yeah.
alert, when they blow up the planet and Princess Leia is seeing it, I mean, Obi-Wan feels that.
Feels it. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like she tried to downplay the Force. Like, no, it's defined midichlorians. And I was like, that's not true. That's like a psychic that thinks they're talking to somebody that's like in the the netherworld or whatever. You know. So it's like, even then, I'm still clinging to the fact that the Force is a mystical thing in a sci-fi world. So it's not like it's. I would say it's like 95% sci-fi, like most of it, and then it's like the Force kind of messes everything up.
Right.
People still
'cause
treat the Jedi like I said, like myths.
Despite
They didn't exist.
all of the technology, the ability to travel light speed, which now right now we're in these times that we're living in, we're still to the point where we're still stuck in our own solar system. We can't go beyond it. Humans can't go beyond our own solar system, and recognizing the fact that we're a little speck in our galaxy, and the galaxy is a little speck in the entirety of the universe. You see, Star Wars, it's despite all of its technology, you still can't. There's no scientific explanation for the Force.
Yeah,
Like,
there's that one thing where it's like you
where
can't touch that.
Yeah,
Yeah. What do you think, Angel?
I mean, yeah, I agree. Star Wars is more straight out sci-fi, but honestly, I have to say, being a Christian, the Force tends to be a lot of spiritual elements.
Spiritual as well. There's
Especially because when not all the Jedi's, but some Jedi's, when they die, they become
one with the Force.
One with the Force, like a spirit. In a way.
I see.
So the Jedi literally view it as like we are eternal. This is but flesh. Like, you know what I mean? And so, and it was like a lost ability, but there are guys that can do it. And then when they're become Force ghosts, like they can commune, talk, whatnot. But yeah,
That kind of just reminds me of the Speed Force for the Flash.
yeah.
Yeah, they're one with the Speed Force. They get faster with the Speed Force.
Right.
And at the end, they become the Speed Force. So it's like something like that.
And that's the thing, like with, because you mentioned like Dune, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars. There is some kind of connection there. I don't think George Lucas has ever said it outright.
Right.
But Dune was written in like 65, I think.
Yeah, 60. Yeah.
Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but
around that time.
desert planet. There's like a chosen one, right, Paul? Abilities. Right, light speed ability, light travel. Spice, like melange spice in. And so if you watch Star Wars, Luke is told that his father was a navigator on a spice freighter. So it's like spice. There's spice in both.
So it's like a connection.
Right. So
There's something there.
Most people would say that Dune inspired a little bit of like everybody else's sci-fi after that, right? It's kind of like how you have like artists, musical influences. Like, everyone heard Elvis.
Yeah.
The Beatles heard Elvis, right? And it influenced people in different ways. They make it their own. You could almost even, bro, like if the Dune fans wanted to, they could pull a Soulja Boy and be like, he stole my whole flow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, so, yeah. And then, so it's like, sure, like,
Yeah.
like, but it's, they make it their own, they change it up. And, so it's like, it's cool to see, but then, like, George Lucas also put in some different elements. He put in, like, Japanese samurai elements, the Jedi, right? Even the
stormtroopers themselves are like
the stormtrooper, like the helmets, exactly,
remnants,
and even the style of fighting in the first 3 movies, I think it's called kendo. It's like an actual style of Japanese sword fighting. Mm-hmm. And as the movies went, the guy in charge of the choreographies added more different styles.
Gotcha.
So it's very much influenced by different things, and sure, like if you guys have seen Dune, spoiler alert, like Paul kind of like he's going off the rails like with power, and that doesn't happen to Luke. Luke is just kind of like the farm boy becomes the hero.
So then you do get that. You get that. You enter into the anime world, right? And that's like its own like.
It is. Weeaboos, where you at?
Dragon Ball Z. What he said.
One Punch Man.
Attack on Titan. Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. You guys
Which I'm just gonna say, I'm not big. Like I'm not big into the anime world. Like I've only watched Dragon Ball Z. So
is Dragon Ball Z anime?
Yeah,
yes,
of course.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. I had someone that tried to argue that it wasn't, and they're like,
"No, that's a
they're
terrible
like,
argument."
but they make it in English. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, it was made by a Japanese creator. The OG is in Japanese.
Yeah.
And we have like an English dub version over here.
Okay.
So I'm like, it for sure is anime.
Oh, it's anime through and through.
Yeah. So, what am I missing? What other component of the video games? Then you get the video game people, the video game crowd.
Video game people, yes.
And you get like the board game crowd, Dungeons and Dragons, the PC people, video game people, the Pokemon people.
Shouts Pokemon.
Is Pokemon anime?
I thought you were going to go with that anime question.
Right, because the OG was like it's Japanese,
same
right?
thing. It's Japanese.
Yeah, even the games that we play over here,
Yeah,
like they aired over there first.
But
you know.
Yeah, they were Japanese at first, so I think they'll follow.
They still are, but I think it just took off here in the States to the point where they just completely just put English all over it.
Oh, I see.
And now that people, like, for example, more younger people, I've brought it up. They're like, it's Japanese, it's an anime. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, at least dive into it.
Right.
You're immersed into something so much, and that's cool. But at the very least, take a look to see what the origins were.
Look at the lore. Yeah,
exactly. Look at the lore.
Right.
That's totally an anime as well. Same thing
Bro,
as Dragon Ball Z.
That's revisionist history, bro.
Exactly.
Bro.
It's people that argue that Dragon Ball Z is not an anime. I'm like, wait, hold on just a second to see if it's an older one. And the thing is, again, English dubs, mainly out here, because obviously there's a lot of animes out here that are more popular than others.
Right.
People that are anime fans, they like, again, Attack on Titan. They'll watch Cowboy Bebop, Jujutsu Kaisen, Spy X Family. There's a good chunk of them, but you have the group of people that have only seen Pokemon, that maybe have only seen Yu-Gi-Oh, that also has roots from the other side of the Pacific. You see that class of people that watch. I don't know if you could define it as a different class of anime, but it's like those are more of the animes that really took off here in the States and they got popular throughout the country, as opposed to the other ones.
The
more niche where people that are a bit more devoted to the genre have seen.
If you will.
Yeah, and like, for example, go to Mexico and see how popular Dragon Ball Z is.
I was about to say,
goodness.
like, it has its own thing over there.
It's so popular. You could probably argue that it was from Mexico. That's how popular it is.
I started watching in Channel 22.
There you go, dude. It's
Spanish.
It's insane how popular Dragon Ball Z is in Latin America.
Yeah.
Throughout Latin America, when Dragon Ball Z's creator passed away, it was just it was just like shrine after shrine, mural after mural.
People were saying you should put a statue in Mexico City or anywhere in Mexico of the.
And
you guys
the
been to Disneyland? Like there's the Walt Disney with Mickey.
Yeah.
Get Akira Toriyama and Kid Goku
And put it
somewhere. People would love it.
Put
in
it
Mexico,
up
dude.
for a vote as like a national referendum, and it would pass
narcos
with flying
would fund it
colors.
themselves.
The narcos would fund it themselves.
Narcos are funny.
That's like, don't fund it
Put
themselves.
the crime on pause to set up the statue, bro. Like,
I think crime went on pause between the drug cartels.
but it's like immersed. I have a buddy. Shout out to my homie Manuel of Los Tranquilos. Like his profile pic is Kid Goku. Like he loves it. It's
Yeah. Do you, Aaron? You agree? All of it is anime, Pokemon.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
Yeah.
growing up, I actually started with Dragon Ball Z, but I didn't really follow as much. Like I watched it on Toonami a bit, probably for a couple seasons, and then went into the Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh train, and then from there, I got into the card games, video games.
Pokemon has a tight hold on you, doesn't it?
It used to, man. Not like
bro. Shout out to the early years of high school. Aaron was playing Pokemon.
Nintendo DS,
bro.
every day
Before class,
before zero period, just be sitting there, just grinding, trying to get all the Pokemon in the Pokédex. Emulators on my cell phone, trying to play all the games.
And just to give you an idea of how popular it's been, how it's been able to transcend generations. When Pokemon Go came out,
right?
You had everybody actually getting out of their houses and walking.
Right.
To
that was when
Pokemon.
this country was at its best during Pokemon Go, bro. The first couple weeks, bro, I was getting those 10,000 steps plus every day, bro. Easily. I was in my downtown park.
I remember
doing laps.
I remember the first time I left town to visit Tito in Paso. I took Amtrak. And all I was doing, I was on Pokemon Go, just catching all the Pokemons that were just coming through, and the app kept telling me, "Are you sure you're not driving?" I'm like, "No, I'm sitting on a train, bro. I'm catching all the." That was the most Pokemon I ever caught on the Amtrak on the way to your place,
bro. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, they saw what was going on at the local parks. How people were absolutely stuffing the parks. Santa Monica Pier was absolutely stuffed. If it wasn't stuffed enough with it being a tourist trap, you had a whole bunch of locals actually going to Santa Monica. Yeah. It's like, bro, I'm here catching Pokemon, man. So it gives you an idea how popular Pokemon has been, again, transcending generations to the point where even the newer generations have been able to drum up a pretty significant following. So it's going to be one of those animes just like Dragon Ball Z that's just going to, as they continue to create content, as certain arcs close. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago when the Ash and Pikachu, they finally called it, and I'm like, dude, these guys have been going on since I was a little kid, dude.
They're making memes now of like bald Ash, like when you're 47, still trying to catch them all, and he takes off his baseball cap and he's like bald because it's like he never ages in the show, and it's like
it's insane. So this is an anime, of course. It's one. For me, it's 100% anime.
So kind of like, not to segue because we can stay with the nerd culture, but something that was like pivotal for me regarding nerd culture and like sports and like the jock culture,
right,
and being accepting of the two, was when I saw Aaron playing Pokemon outside of class. Gotcha. Because up until that point, right, when you're playing football, there's a whole lot of like, sure, tough guy, machista, kind of like, you hit me in practice, I'm gonna hit you back, blah blah, which is like great. You needed to play the game, right? It has its place. And I was also like in marching band freshman year, and so I would kind of get crap from both groups. Like kids in band would be like, "Oh, you're a jock. You can't hang out here. Like, you're in the band, but you're like."
Right.
And then I'd hang out with my football friends, and they'd be like, "Oh, dude, you're a band geek. You can't hang out in the quad. You got to go to the band room." And I'm like, dude. Shout out to my homie Jacob. We both did band and football at the same time, so we kind of saw. Right. But when I saw Aaron on his DS. Because, bro, Aaron was this height when he was 14. I kid you not. we thought he was a coach. Me and Jacob went to practice the first day of summer ball.
Hey, sir.
No, yeah. We were like, oh, this guy's a coach, right? He was at least like 5'10", like 170, 180 maybe, But we became friends, and then when I saw him playing Pokemon outside of class, before class, I was like, oh, the two, like, they can coexist. Like, if this guy... like star football player, like is I was just like, shut up, don't do that. Let's not do that. Come on.
We're talking about Garcia over here now.
No, So when I saw him playing, it kind of made me a little more comfortable with myself, being like, oh, I can do the two. I can ball out, be a star athlete, and I can still play Pokemon.
Oh yeah, no.
And if anyone were to give me crap, I'd be like,
go talk to.
Bro, I weigh 230, bro. Like, try me, please. Like you can't,
Yeah.
So it was cool,
So then you get the video game crowd.
Oh yeah.
That's
another group of.
That's another rabbit hole.
Another big group.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Shout out to Angel. He's always playing Doom. He never wants to play FIFA with us or anything else.
And that video game crowd has become wider because now you get the phone crowd. Where you get some people that play more like phone games than
like
they actually
handheld.
like video games.
Oh, that's me and Angel. I mean, Angel plays. What do you play? I play Clash Royale. What do you play?
Rings.
Yeah. So it's so wide, and it's such its own different
and it evolves
world,
too.
and it evolves,
Right.
and it can go into like the new Fallout thing. That's like the new
Right.
craze
Yeah,
and all of
it's
that.
been-
And you have shows based on
Yeah,
video
it's been a
games.
lot of it's been a
right.
lot of fun watching
The HBO Max, the zombie one, The Last
The Last
of
of
Us.
Last of Us.
It's a
Yeah,
great,
so you get
great
that
series.
one. Yeah, so you're getting all these like iterations of these video games that are kind of like expanding to popular culture, to society, where someone like me who who didn't play
Right.
The Last of Us, I saw the show, I was like, wow, this is sick. And then like my brother-in-law who like played the video game,
great video
loved the video
games, yeah.
game, was like, oh yeah, this is this and this and this is gonna happen because
Right.
and we're like, oh, how do you know that? Like, oh,
Yeah,
well,
play the
it's all
games,
in the
bro.
video game. So it just you get all of that. You
Right,
get all of that. So is there anything I'm missing? Any piece of nerd culture I'm missing?
Oh, yeah, video games. We went over anime.
Right,
Just
anime.
anime.
Are we going over
Board
The
games. So
only
there's the
ones
board
that
games.
the only
there's
thing
that-
is that I've never played D&D. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
So it's a Dungeons
You
and
don't
Dragons.
either. I don't think
So
I
it's
ever
like
played
I
Dungeons
told you
and
before the
Dragons.
pod. It's like it's very broad.
Yeah, it's-
there's a whole spectrum.
Right.
I would
Right.
actually say Dungeons and Dragons influenced all of like the fantasy realm, where like
Yeah,
dragons,
see,
that was before all that.
Right.
orcs, all that. That's where. it
So
all
Dungeons
came
and Dragons is old.
All I played was Monopoly, dude.
Oh, okay.
How does anyone know how far back? Because even like when you watch like Stranger Things, it's the 80s. They're playing D&D. You know what I mean?
I think you guys. I mean, you just left out. I mean, card games. You mentioned all of them except Magic the Gathering. I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure
Wow, I've heard of it,
there's
but I've never
big
touched
old
up on
culture
it.
for it. I mean,
Yeah,
if Post
for sure.
Malone bought that card for like $1 million,
For sure.
Right.
So I'm trying
I
to.
mean,
I mean, with Magic the Gathering, you basically get into like the whole World of WoW, which is like a computer.
World of Warcraft?
World of Warcraft, yeah. So you get more into the whole wizards and magic and all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always a root, isn't there?
Quick correction on what I was saying earlier. That I thought the Dungeons and Dragons came out first. It's actually Tolkien. He wrote the story.
Tolkien.
Between 1937 and 1949.
Oh my God.
And then
Wow.
in 1974, that's when Dungeons and Dragons was first created. So you have about a 40-year gap from when Lord of the Rings first started all the fantasy. And then,
So Lord of the Rings is the beginning of all this.
I think so, yeah.
Oh wow.
At least for as far back as we can remember.
Right.
Because even then, I was looking at like certain forums, and like we talk about Dune, right? There was a guy that named certain books where he's like, if you read these books, Dune is based on all of this. So it's like, again, like Soldier Boy, Drake, like the
everything
academics.
goes to origin,
Right,
origin.
he confronted Soldier Boy because he was like, yeah, so you say Drake stole this flow. You got that flow from Shorty Low, like some other dude. And it's like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of
Right.
like what you make of it is your mark.
Right.
You know?
It's just that somebody was able to make it popular before you. did.
Right.
Or, yeah, to piggyback off that, somebody made it popular, but like you can also kind of put your own style on it, like where
Right.
people will
That's
sample
when you.
music.
That's when you start getting into
Right.
subgenres. You have genres, and then you have
Yeah.
subgenres.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you have like it's
Yeah.
the same. This falls under this umbrella, but it has these these identifying characteristics
And
that
it's
define.
funny
it.
because you'll have people like to kind of go the music way a little bit. Like you'll have, like you said, right? Someone will make something, someone else likes it, hears it a different way. And I was telling people like, so you have like, I was talking to my barber actually. Shout out to Luis, but we're talking about music, and so we were talking about like Latin music, right? Those rhythms, and I was telling him, I was like, a lot of those rhythms, they're descended from African rhythms that like came over like overseas, right? And so, because there's a new song that like it blew up on TikTok. It's called "Water" by Tyla, right? It's like a really poppin' song. When I heard the song and I started playing it, in my mind I was like, "Oh, this is Latin." I was like, "This is," and so I asked my buddy, I was like, "Who sings this?" So I can like add it to my playlist, blah blah blah. And it's like, and he's like, "Oh, it's this girl named Tyla," and I was like, "Is she like Latina? Like what? Like where's she from?" And he was like, "Oh, she's South African." And I was like, "Wait, say that again." He's like, "She's South African." And I thought, okay. And so the music will go places, evolve, take its own form, and that's how you get stuff like jazz that comes to be. That's how you get bossa nova, right? And then even as far back like with jazz, further down the line you have hip hop. Guys heard jazz records and were sampling
Right.
And that's how you get these classic records. All these producers like Jay Dilla, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But they're sampling like Herbie Hancock, Miles Davis, Ahmad Jamal, and then guys like Nas here or whoever,
Right.
Jay-Z, even Kendrick, all these guys, and they're like, "Oh, that's a cool beat. Let's make that." And it's kind of like what we were saying with Star Wars. Like you have past generations, but then when people change it, make it their own, put their own twist, it's shown to a new set of ears, and then it kind of keeps going and evolving and whatnot. And
so how does? What is the? Because you guys are all like into similar stuff, and then there's also like stuff that you guys like are into, like individually. What is the like criteria to be for the fandom of the nerd culture? Because like when you get into sports, for example, like the very like fundamental, I'm a sports fan of X team. And the very basic level is you watch, right? Like that's
right.
You learn the team, and then from there you get to like very extreme levels of fandom. Right. Very like.
I think it's the same. I think it's the same with sports. Like you're always giving us crap for you're just a casual. Same thing in this world where okay, well he knows the plot, he knows the characters, but does he know the backstory? Does he know that part of the movie wasn't canon?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't in the comic book. Stuff like that. I think that's where you can start drawing a line or establishing a line where,
right.
Okay, this guy he's basing it off canon. And same thing, like if you're not watching the games, you're a casual.
Right.
You don't know what scheme they're running. Stuff like that.
Okay. You know their weaknesses, their tendencies.
I'm trying to connect it with your sports perspective,
right.
the nerd world. But I think that's my input.
So because like from the sports perspective, because even the sport, like, and obviously there's also the group like play sports, doesn't watch sports. So I'm just talking about like sports fandom, like TV.
Right.
You're watching the sports, the whole thing. And you guys are like, some of you like are in that world too, where you're watching games, you're a fan of like a team, the whole thing. Is there more criticism on the sports fandom, or is there more criticism on the nerd culture fandom?
I think there's more a divide of, like with Marvel, is it canon or is it not? Same thing with Star Wars. I think that's one of the biggest ones that everybody touches upon. Where, one more time, is it that they don't know how to put it out there, or are they really even like consulting the guys that wrote the stories or know about the stories?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What are they talking about? Like, goes back to what Aaron said about the Star Wars movie. Like, is it just a recycled copy of number 4?
Yeah.
Like, they could have done a new story.
Right.
And that's why I think Rogue One is good. Andor is good because those are original stories, and they actually went behind the production and asked, hey, get us the background story.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the epic scene at the end, spoiler alert, with Darth Vader just destroying everybody and getting the
slicing them like watermelon.
Yeah.
That was glorious. I gasped in the theater.
Oh, that was a great scene. Seeing that with modern production,
I was like,
quality, I was like, dude.
I was in the back row and my head hit the wall behind my seat. I was like, dude.
So, where is there more criticism of each other's fans?
I think with the nerd culture, because in the nerd culture, because there's
lore.
There's all kinds of content at all times, right? With sports, I mean, sure, you can watch the games, and it's pretty easy to weed out the ones that
don't know what they're talking
about it,
right,
and do watch.
Bayer
right?
boys,
right? Yeah. But with the nerd culture, it's like, okay, like if I say me for example, if I were to meet like the average person on the street that doesn't know Star Wars, they would think that I'm like a Star Wars like diehard, like to the T. Right, like
I see what you're saying.
But there's levels. But I've met guys that know a ton more, and I'm like, dang, I'm like a pleb compared to these guys, bro. I'm like, you know what I mean? Because again, there's like expanded universe, fan fiction, all
that
kinds
makes
of
sense.
stuff, right?
That makes
you know
perfect
what I mean?
sense. Yeah.
So there's like dudes that are like have YouTube channels built off of this, and they go
to me,
right.
you guys are all like diehards.
Right.
Like to me, you like because I know like zero.
Yeah.
To me, you guys are the.
They're like, you guys have like the platinum membership. To be
exactly.
And I'm looking at them and I'm like,
and you guys are probably like, bro, like I am like.
I got that $10 Planet Fitness
level.
Yeah. You know, like shout out to Planet Fitness, but it's like and then there are guys that have like the black card or like exactly. Oh, you go to LA Fitness? Like, you know, like so 24.
Equinox, the whole thing. Yeah.
So, because if I were to meet some of those guys and they would hear some of my takes, they would totally be like, oh, this guy's a casual. This guy, you know what I mean? So there's levels to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I have some Star Wars takes where I'm just like if I were to say them,
let me tuck it away.
They would be like, oh, dude, that's crazy. You're wrong. Like, you know.
Yeah, because in sports, it's very much
data driven.
It's data driven.
I feel like it's either data driven or the eye test, and there's a balance between the two.
Yeah,
because you've said it about the guys that
that's
played
true.
pro ball, right? Shout out to those guys, you know, the ones that German hates.
So you're saying there's gray area, but when it comes to fandoms like nerd culture, it's black and white. Then
it kind of sounds that way, no? Because like in sports, for example, you either are watching the games or you're not. But even in that, you can be somebody that's watching games.
Still be right.
But if you don't know what you're watching, you're also like super lost because you'll be watching. Like I'll watch a game with like my mom, or I'll watch like a Canelo fight with my mom, and she'll be like throw, and I'm like no, don't throw it yet. Hold on,
it up.
Hold
He's
on.
setting up the
like,
trap.
Yeah. And so she'll be like, man, he wasted that round. And I'll be like, well, no, like that was actually perfect. He needed to do that. Blah blah blah.
Him in,
the whole thing. And then you get that like with soccer, you're watching soccer and you're like, why did they keep going back? Why did just go forward? And it's like, well, no, you gotta bring the defense back because everyone's stuck over there. You pass it back to make them chase, and then you go and then you open, and it's almost like the ocean. You're coming in and out, in and out, in and out. And so if you don't know what you're watching, you do get a lot of that as well because I think that in sports there is a ton of that kind of decision. Baseball's huge in that, where like people don't watch from April to September, and October starts, and then like Dave Roberts will come and like make a trade, like a substitution. Like, why is he bringing that guy in? And it's like, well, that guy's actually really good with lefties, and the guys he's about to face a lefty. And so all of a sudden,
right?
Yeah. So it just. I think with sports, it can be very analytical, but I think that's where you get like deep, and that's where you realize like,
who's a true
follower, fan. And it's very you begin to appreciate at a high level. Like I've told David that one of the funniest things was seeing the finals last year, and the ESPN sideline reporter during Game 1 of the finals. She was just like, man, Nikola Jokic is really
this
good.
guy's fantastic. Right?
And it was one of those like you're watching and you're like,
I've been watching the sport for
this is like the first time this lady has seen him play because
the leading MVP candidate, right?
Yeah, it's like
you must have just seen when he got drafted and seen what they said.
Yeah,
and
you get people like that.
Now,
you get people like that who will tell themselves like, man, Patrick Mahomes is really good, huh? And you're like, where the hell have you been? Like, what do you mean? Of course. So. In sports, it can be very grayish because it can be grayish. Do you guys agree though? Like it's black and white in nerd culture?
No, because because how we were saying, like there are people who they have barely been introduced and they don't, they're all wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. They don't really know what's going on when they watch the movies and like they don't know why this character is attacking or why they're like why it's just there's nuances and relationships that aren't explained yet, and then there's that next level fan who has a deeper understanding but not a complete understanding of the backstory, or like they've watched all the movies so they can make some connections.
Yeah.
And then you have probably a third and fourth tier of people who've read books, and I'm going to go to Star Wars with this because it's a little bit easier for me. You have the expanded universe people who've read all the books, who've read the comics, who they watch all the YouTube videos of, of people who have like unreleased footage, or like they've been able to like review unreleased footage or director's cuts of things, and so they have even more insight as to why some directors were going to go this route and they chose to cut it out, or basically like this was supposed to, it's basically more and more in depth the deeper you go, and I don't know if there's like a truly like fully immersed fan, and there probably is.
There probably are, but they're the not to sound like cliche, but they're the type of guys that are like
living in the basement.
They live in the basement, and they're like and they're the kind of guys, because you hear about some of these things. It's like, for example, like you said, like you go deep into like all the stuff, right? There are guys that are like, oh, dude, did you hear about like George Lucas's like first draft ever for Star Wars? I'm like, that's like some hardcore stuff, right? And you hear like names, terms that are used in the scripts that were changed and altered into what the movie is now, right? And it's like that, like that's okay. To kind of put like my 2 cents as far as like the question about like because the other day on the pod we talked about like Harry with baseball, right?
Right.
He's very much get off my lawn. Like I feel like for the most part maybe, and I'm just me going on a limb. I feel like most comic or nerd culture guys are happy to receive the new eyes, no matter how devoted they are to the culture.
True? We're very open, but I mean, as soon as we introduce you and you start getting like introduced and you just start learning
don't harm it,
the thing, whatever it is that you're gonna get into. I mean, that's when like son and father, like, oh, you taught me, you introduced me to the 49ers, but I like the Raiders now. Oh. Like that's that's what happens. Like, oh yeah, hey, get into this anime. Hey, you like Pokemon? Yeah, I could like Pokemon cards. Like you get introduced, because as guys, I mean, we're not. I mean, I'm getting into like women now. Like we're not fussy. Like we always accept everybody in open arms, and that's nerd culture too. Like, but as soon as you start getting like your identity as a nerd, then you can start saying, hey, no, Darth Maul was not bad. He was just not well written.
Right. Then you have a little more skin in the game.
He was killed off too soon. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Right.
No, the dark side is good. Like
the dark side has its merit. You just gotta know about it.
Angel will vouch, and I'll let him do it now.
Do you agree, Angel? Like nerd culture is more accepting than sports culture?
I think so. Like to me, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I basically talk about. I try to get you into Star Wars.
I fell asleep.
I try to get my wife into Star Wars.
That's brutal, but
there's one.
I did watch
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
He did.
But I had to get you with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I had to compare it to Game of Thrones.
There is one distinguishing feature I'll say between like sports and then sports and nerds, right?
Right.
Is that there are, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna include myself in this. There are fair weather fans in sports where there really aren't in terms of like nerd culture.
Yes.
Right?
And that's why I disagree with you guys. I think it's a lot easier to be a sports fan, and I think sports fans are typically more accepting than the nerd culture people, because at the base level, if we're watching a game, we're watching Dodgers Padres today, all you really need is to wear a Dodgers shirt, and if the Dodgers score a run, you cheer.
Yeah, but
Dodger fan, he's on my team, we're good.
Yeah, but if you're a nerd and you don't know the tidbit, you're called out. You're like, oh, how did you not know that? Like,
You're pretty much.
you're not a fan. You're a
little
casual.
bit.
Yeah.
Ostracized a little
Yeah, I agree with you.
it takes a specific kind of person to do that. Honestly, though,
To do what?
Ostracize someone. Yeah, call them out for something. Even. Especially when they're going for the same team that you're going. It's like you see them as less. I'm like, I'd be like, if I'm being Australian, I'm like, bro, we're in the same team, man. We both want our team
That's
to
your
win.
paisano,
I don't care how they win. I just want them to win.
Right.
They could score the game-winning run on a balk, and versus the person that wants to see a walk-off grand slam. I'm like,
Right,
as long as
right.
my guys win,
Yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah, as long as they win.
Like,
yeah.
why are you jumping me, dude? I'm on your team.
So I think I have the answer. I was like, why is that?
Yeah.
You know, and because for the most part, you know, if I see another Vikings fan out here in California, I'd be like, yes, you are like, I'm gonna embrace you. You know what it's like to be a Vikings fan, and then that kind of clued me in, like. The reason why some sports fans are not as accepting as the newer fans is because those newer fans haven't gone through the hardships.
Oh, of course.
Shout out to German and the
no.
Niners, bro.
Dude.
Oh, German and Niners, that is brutal, man.
watch
But
the
you know,
team lose-
in my position though, like for example, you know, if I were a Vikings fan, and the Vikings have had their fair share of heartbreaks to say the least.
Yep.
And you know, if I run into a new fan that hasn't gone through those things, I'd be like, I'm not gonna belittle them. I'm like, I'm about to show you what heartbreak is, bro.
Yeah, welcome
let
to
me
the hurt,
let
man.
me let me take you through a tour. I'll whip up some YouTube videos, some wiki articles. I'm like, I'm about to show you why we're kind of why
we're the way we are.
Why we are the way that we are, man. Why we're always depressed for some reason.
Yeah,
it's like, why are Vikings fans depressed, bro? I was like, oh, let me give you a tour. You want to be a fan?
That's where I get to, you know,
Yeah.
with the new fans with like Star Wars, my nieces,
Yeah.
they love the new trilogy. I hate it. But they're little girls. They don't know. They know the new trilogy. So then I'll be like, I'll take you under my wing.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the right way.
Yeah.
Let me
I'm
take you on a
show you why
tour.
you need to hate it.
Take us to the dark side.
Yeah, it's. I think both sides are super passionate and they're super, and I'm coming from like, probably like a little too passionate. I'm coming from like, sometimes I do lean too much. Shout out to Harry, get off my lawn. But I think a lot of it is like the nerd culture, the time invested. Like I've done this, I've been through this, I've learned it, I've watched it. And so like if I tomorrow buy a Star Wars shirt and say, man, I love Star Wars. Star Wars is... You guys will be like, bro,
Some people are going to clown on you.
get the hell out of here. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, you trying to clown us?
Exactly when we went to go eat tacos and the girl gave me the tacos had an Iron Maiden shirt.
yeah.
I'm like, I bet you she doesn't know 3 songs.
Single song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So messed up, dude.
Hey, man, I'll say it right now. I had a Run DMC shirt in high school. I knew like one song, but now I will say I you know.
Right. You can hold your own. Yeah.
Yeah, but.
Is there a way? Okay, because I saw like a like a reel or a video, right?
Right.
Of someone saying like, when you see the younger generations like rocking that kind of stuff, right? You know?
The band stuff.
Yeah, AC/DC, whatever the case is, right? You know, you could go the route of like, oh, bro, I bet she doesn't know it all, you know. And this one guy was like, try to ask him and make it in a way that won't be like off-putting, where it's like, oh, that's a nice shirt, like Iron Maiden, right? You know, and say they don't know anything at all. Like the guy was like,
Suggest 3 songs.
Maybe like tell them which ones you like, and be like, hey, like if
Nobody wants to see that.
Hold on, if you haven't heard it, it's like they're a really cool band. Maybe you like this song, blah blah blah. You know, because if you're just the guy like going around like like
Antagonizing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
Like, then that person's gonna be like, man, I shouldn't wear this shirt. Those guys are
See,
dicks.
I
Like,
do.
you know?
I do think though.
Coming from a metalhead, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I'm sorry.
You just jumped in.
That's the
I do think that there is beauty. There's obviously a lot of toxic stuff that can come from it for sure. But I do think there's beauty in the fact that you become passionate about this thing, you build this community, you're all passionate, and you kind of like I see that with my little brother, where as he's become a 49er fan, and we've both gone through it, and it's almost you begin to see the hope, but then you get kicked in the nuts, and you're like, oh my god, like.
It's like, why do I even like these teams, dude?
This is
watch over
this
here,
is where
dang,
we're at.
bro, like-
No, but it is this like different. Like I remember when we saw the Rams Niners, and Tart drops the interception,
That must have been brutal.
and it was the first time he had experienced that like
heartache.
Yeah, when we're like here and we're like, dude, we're gonna beat this team again, and we're gonna go to Super Bowl and blah blah, blah. And then like Tart like just drops the interception, and then it like all fell apart, and it was like those kind of moments like bond you to the team, or I mean, I guess they can completely turn you off, but they bond you, they get you, and much like a movie scene in a movie, you see like something dramatic, this person dies, this person wins, and all of a sudden you get catapulted up to this level of like, I love this series because it made me feel this, it made me connect to this, and it made me where somebody who's never seen it can't possibly have that experience. There's no way the first time you heard Darth Vader say, Luke, I'm your father, and the moment of like, what, like all the ecstasy that you feel from that, a new fan, there's no way they could ever like know what that was like. And I think a lot of the passion comes from that, these moments of I put in so much work, right?
Actually, okay, so I don't know, because your introduction to watching sports with somebody, or just watching, whether it's with somebody or on your own,
right?
Like you're watching highlights of things that people had watched in the past, so you don't really get the same feeling because it's not current. It's not what everyone's talking about come Monday, right?
That's true,
hey,
true.
like dang, like I'm hurting right now because my team just lost.
Yeah,
I've been hurting for a while. Whereas like you watch that same game 10 years, down the line as a replay, as a rerun, and you're like, well, that sucks, but like I already knew that they didn't win the Super Bowl that year. Whereas you can watch, whether that's 10, 20 years after it's been first released, you can watch a movie for the first time and feel almost the exact same emotions that someone is feeling when they first watched it when it first came out. Because I remember when a couple years ago, I think it was like 2018, 2019, I was in school and my friends were like, hey, we're going to watch episode 3. I was like, all right, cool. Like Star Wars episode 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. I've seen that 100 times, but I'm gonna watch it because I love it.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, all right, but you need to be cool while watching it. You can't react because it's this guy's first time watching it. And so I was like, no way. Like, that's awesome. Like, thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah.
Because now I get to see this guy's emotions for the
you get
first
to relive
time.
that moment.
Yes,
yeah.
As myself, right? Like yeah, it's just it's a great feeling to see somebody's first introduction to something that you love. As a movie, it's a lot easier. As like in terms of fantasy, whether that's TV, movies, whatever, I think it's a lot easier than someone's first introduction to sports, because although that sports event you might share it at the same time with somebody, you have all this. If you've been a long-term fan, you have all this build up and like all these different emotions about this team, whereas somebody's first experience can be a really positive one, right? They win the Super Bowl, or kind of like mine with the Vikings, where that season that I first started following was my first year playing Pop Warner, which was Brett Favre's first season. And so I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, these guys are sick. They're gonna make the Super Bowl. I can see it. And then he throws a pick to Tracy Porter.
You didn't know about Brett Favre yet.
Tracy Porter, he's pointing down the side, down the end zone, and I wanted to cry, dude. I'm like, I'm a freshman in high school. I'm like, no way, dude. Like, what is this? And then probably all the other Vikings fans are like, well, welcome, welcome to the fold. But I think those emotions are a little bit different because older Vikings fans, they probably they can steel themselves for that moment. They can harden their hearts and be like, well, let me temper my expectations because I already know like what's going to happen. Whereas in Star Wars, you're like, well, I already know what's going to happen, and I'm so excited for him to. I don't know. I feel like I might have gone off on a little tangent, but
no, it makes sense. But I think that there is a magnitude to like sharing the story of a team. And there is this like greater than not life, but this moment that's like above it.
It's greater than the sum of its parts. Kind of.
Yeah, because I do think, and I think reliving a lot of the stuff through my little brother, I think has been like how I've been able to experience like almost all over again.
Yeah.
What that was. So like, when you're able to establish like this is why we feel this way about this team, and this is why this team is this, and this is why
we rooted for Michigan this last season.
Right, or this is why like this guy is revered and this guy is not. This is why, they wear this color, and this is why they have this patch, and this is like all of that, like
different traditions.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you begin to create, much like with the nerd culture, and you're you're going to relive again those moments of great triumph, great defeat, almost for the very first time. Because I remember telling him when he got into soccer, and I was telling him about like just the run Real Madrid had, where they went they rattled off 4 and 5, and just what that meant. And you had at the same time Barcelona with like Messi and Neymar and Suarez, and it was like supposedly they were the best, and this and this and this and this, but Ronaldo like 4 and 5, and it was almost like in your best, at your best, with your best roster, we won 4 or 5 European championships. Like, please don't like compare it. Yeah, and it's almost like you're like, bro, like there was nothing better than that. And retelling him for the first time and showing him and showing this video and look at this and then this happened. And all of a sudden you're like, dude, that was awesome. Like I forgot. Because, it's rare where you go and watch. Like a movie is rewatchable. Yeah. It's rare the game you're going to go rewatch.
With the same emotion.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're telling somebody for the first time and they're like, wait, what? Like I remember there was a Champions League game, Real Madrid down 2-0 versus Wolfsburg, this German team. And they go in there, and Ronaldo scores 3. They advance. And it was one of those, like, this is who we rooted for 9 years. Like, this was the guy. Like, it was almost like he was whatever, like, mystical dude. It was that guy, and he was on our team. And, like, that kind of stuff, he became a Ronaldo fan, not because he saw him play all those years, but almost out of, like, those memories that you instill that almost become part of his memory bank just by extension.
So you're saying, like you kind of described who the legend of Ronaldo was, and then he got to witness that in action.
He got to witness a very, like, diminished version of Ronaldo, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also the historical background that whenever you watch the team...
It's important.
You realize, like, oh, this is why.
Because
this is why.
I mentioned a guy that the air doesn't
I already
like.
know. I already know.
Where
Here
I'm
we
going
go,
with this.
bro. Here we go.
But the year that Brady won that Super Bowl with the Bucks,
Yeah.
It's the only time I did fantasy football.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And it was with Jeremiah, our friend Jeremiah Victor, right? You were in that league too, right? With those young Bucks, the Oklahoma guys.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
All young 18, 19-year-old kids.
Right.
And the way they were talking about Brady, they were just like, oh, dude, washed up. But it's like, sure, I could get why you would say that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there was like no respect at all for
Right.
all the stuff he'd done, like how much he'd won in the past. And he won the Super Bowl later that year, and I was just like, man, those guys don't even know. Like, he wasn't just your average old quarterback, like
Right.
still playing. Like he was still very much live. Even my older brother, he was watching the Rams play against the Bucks in like the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he was trying to like talk bad about Brady, and I was like, you do know he's in the running for MVP. As old as he is, like he's still putting up good numbers.
Right.
And he's like, what? I'm like, have you even been watching him play? You're just going off like what you're seeing this game. I was like, he's still very much a live guy,
Right.
And so, like I said, like the revisionist history thing, it's like, like for your brother that maybe like hadn't seen prime Ronaldo, you were showing him the history, the legacy of him as the player.
Right.
And it has more meaning when he watches him at that stage in his career still doing what he was doing,
Yeah, because you do get, like, I see that inverse with my sister with Messi. She went to go watch all the Messi stuff. She did all that. And then, like, all of a sudden, she's like, bro, Messi's the best. I almost punched her in the throat when she told me that. But it is almost it's one of those things where she created this idea from this legend that who he was, much like the nerd culture. So I think it's very similar when it comes to just the creation of it.
It's like a recency bias too, like
and there's a
like when Messi won the World Cup with Argentina this last time.
God, yeah.
I saw so many fans on the go. That's it. It's automatic. Blah blah. And I had to ask you to break down the rivalry between him and Ronaldo.
Yeah, and I'm probably biased the other way. Yeah,
right. No, yeah, for sure. But the way you broke it down for me,
probably. Yeah.
Because you said Ronaldo rattled off a consecutive amount of championships while Messi was still present, and when Messi won, it was sparse and they were very far apart.
Right.
So it's like you said. Ronaldo was dominant in a period when Messi was still there,
right,
and supposed to be in his prime.
Yeah,
with
his best team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think that there is a lot of overlap between nerd culture and sports culture, or is it pretty segregated in terms of the fans within those groups?
I want to say yes and no. I know people who do both, and then people who are very secluded in either one.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of hard. There's a lot of factors that go into it. For me, right, like I said, for Star Wars, I was kind of brought into it by my mom and then my godfather. And then for sports, it was just playing with your siblings and your family members, your cousins, and so I guess for every person they have those different experiences where it depends on a lot of the time it depends on somebody else bringing you into that fold. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say whether or not there is a bigger majority of people who dip into both, or who stick to their one thing.
No, I definitely dip into both. I think it's a little bit more sports for me.
Right.
I think considering also, I think it's just as how I grew up too. On my end, I didn't grow up with cable or anything of the sort. It was just good old fashioned, for the most part, good old fashioned local TV.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was a long time ago either, but I remember during my childhood growing up, we were still able to watch sports on local TV.
Yeah.
Channel 9 had the Lakers games,
the good old days. And
so before the demon that is regional sports network. So I think on that, and cartoons, unless if you were watching them on Saturday, for the most part, cartoons were on cable. And I remember, as a kid growing up, me, my brother and I, we played outside. We were in a park. We were deeply immersed to sports all the time. And that kind of transferred over into us starting to watch sports. I remember, I was probably 6 years old, I think. It was in the middle of the Lakers three-peat.
Yeah.
It was with the Aguayos. With Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy they were watching a Laker game. We were at their place when they used to live in Huntington Park. And, I was, I played basketball as a kid, but I never watched it.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are we going for? And I remember Wendy telling me, we're going for the purple ones. I was like, oh, it's the Lakers. I'm like, okay, cool, Lakers, let's go on from there. So I think it was more, it was more on sports on my end. But then, growing up in school, it's when I was exposed to books. I read Dune as a kid.
Right.
I even read Aragon. I read the Harry Potter novels. A series of unfortunate events was a big part of elementary school too. They were doing events devoted to that series because it was pretty big. So for me, it's a little bit more sports, but I mean, it's both. I enjoy, a good story, and much more. I've enjoyed how those stories that were created before I was around, how they've taken off into TV, how they've taken off in the big screen.
Right.
So it's been a lot of fun to watch. things being created in this day and age with the technology that's out there right now, with the quality that's out there right now. It's been interesting also to see sports take a sabermetrical approach, especially in baseball.
Yeah. When the nerds have taken over.
When the nerds started to take over. And I remember, there's one thing I remember that always just comes to mind when we're talking about sports and the nerd side. You're talking about nerd culture, but there's also a degree of nerd culture in sports too.
Huge.
Yeah. There was this episode of Everybody Hates Chris where Chris's parents didn't know, but it was the episode where they were referring to Chris as Chrissy the Black.
The Black, yes.
So he was telling it was college basketball, I think. He was telling people, oh no, it wasn't college basketball. I'm sorry, it was pro basketball. It was pro. He was telling
like the local store, the corner store owner,
who to bet on.
Like, oh, should I bet on tonight? And Chris would be
and
like, he'd be like, you know what? I think so and so with him. Like, he's gonna be hot tonight. He's gonna be good. You should bet on him.
And he was nailing it on every single on every single game.
Yeah.
So they were asking, like they asked, he's like, how is it that you know so much about it? He's like, well, like for me, scrawny kid that doesn't have the abilities that my brother Drew has.
Right, little big brother.
So he's like, I don't have the ability to play. I could watch it. I could analyze it. And I could,
when they don't get
exactly. At the end of the episode, he screws up. The only bet he screws up, he gets into hot water with his mom.
Right. But he started telling so many people. Well, the corner store guy would get so much intel from Chris.
Yeah.
And people started asking the corner store guy, like, "Yo, like, where do you get this intel from?" And he's like, "Oh, my boy." He's like, Chrissy the Black.
It's a great episode. It's hilarious.
And they'd be like, it became a thing where it was like they'd go around the neighborhood and be like, "Hey, so who's on tonight?" You're like, oh, so and so. Oh, is the word out on what Chrissy the Black said and who to bet on? Like, and it's like, oh yeah, he said to bet on so and so. He's gonna be hot tonight. Blah blah. And it was just like he was like rolling in the he was rolling in the money.
Dude.
He was just like, like, I just watched the games and I know what to look for. Like,
So I think about how sabermetrics and analytics have taken over sports.
Right.
How you see live betting odds in sports where gambling was essentially was front of. I mean, the one running gag I saw with the whole Ohtani story, he's like, I like how they're talking about Ohtani and how they're bashing betting, and then they put like the odds on what the game's like right underneath on the ticker. I'm like, dude,
gambling is bad.
Yeah, gambling's like, gonna have the odds for tonight.
Here's the over under for how many hits he's gonna have tonight. 1.5. But don't do it. Don't gamble.
So again, how much sabermetrics has immersed itself to the point where it's worked. How you have a lot of commentators making a killing despite them not playing the sport professionally a single day in their life. So yeah, there's an overlap. Of course, there's an overlap. I think the Red Sox. I forgot which year. I think it was when they beat St. Louis in the World Series. I forgot what year. It wasn't that long ago.
13.
I had heard, and remember, aside from David Ortiz, I remember, was that the year he hit that game-tying home run in the ALCS where Torrey Hunter went over the bullpen wall?
Yes.
So, I mean, aside from that, you had obviously Boston had some pretty good, had some great players, but for the most part, they didn't have, any like, aside from David Ortiz, of course, they didn't have those like. I don't want to say like headline grabbing names.
Right, exactly.
So the Red Sox were dubbed as the first team to completely devote themselves to sabermetrics to win a championship, and it worked. Yeah. It's kind of like the Moneyball experience.
Right.
Experiment.
Well, the end of Moneyball is like the Red Sox adopted that system.
And they were the first ones to fully embrace that method on the way up to winning a championship.
Right.
And they ended up winning a championship. You just had guys that weren't
like
headline.
Johnny Gomes,
Shane Victorino. You had guys that weren't headline grabbers, but they hit when it mattered.
Yes.
Their situation. That's what playoffs is for the most part.
The averages,
situational hitting is what'll make or break you in the playoffs. So speaking on the culture, that speaking on these crosses of nerd culture and sports culture, how there's, like I said, there's a significant degree of nerd culture in the sport. I mean, it's good to see. I kind of understand the criticism behind it too. but I think it's just one of those things where like, hey, this is kind of where it's going. This is what's bringing in money. So it's like, for me on my end, I understand the purist argument. I totally do, but for me, I think it's I think it's worked up until now. You know, a lot of people. I mean, sports is still immensely popular in this country, and it's not going away anytime soon, despite whatever things that are coming. You know, a lot of people say that sports are too analytical, relying on matchups too much. There's just times where you have to rely on your gut, and you just have to go pretty much. You know, you got to go old school and so on and so forth. And that's fine, but I think it's, for me personally, I think it's worked.
It's pretty crazy seeing the two dynamics, because like I saw like a tweet, right, where again, telling on myself, I don't watch a lot of baseball, but is Pete Rose is the guy that like got in trouble?
all-time hits leader, gambling,
banned, right?
Yeah.
So someone was saying, like on Twitter, they were just like, okay, like we live in a world now where like Pete Rose banned for life, eternally. Screw this guy, terrible. Cheating is, gambling is bad, right?
Yeah.
And then right below it, there was like an ad for like DraftKings for like MLB games on that night, and it's just like,
it is it is a world that's meshing now.
Yeah.
And I think the Pete Rose situation, I think a lot of it is tough because of the. He actually betted, like he was part of the team, bet on his team, and that's why the Ohtani story was so interesting.
right.
Because of that, and then his name gets cleared. I do think though, even if because you said I'm in both, I lean more towards sports. I do find that that's what happens. Like you're into both.
Someone's like
you
into
like both.
Yeah,
you like both,
right.
but you tend to lean one side more than you do the other.
Yeah.
I do think that, right?
Yeah, I agree. So
I
lean more towards
nerd culture.
Yeah. I have more fun playing Lord of the Rings or Star Wars video games than Madden or
FIFA,
2K.
Or just watching a game in general.
Or just watching the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I, like I said, on mine, I think I lean more on one than the other because of the way I grew up.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with it. I think that if my situation was turned and I had more access possibly to cartoons,
it might
movies
be
and so on,
different.
might be different.
Yeah.
But because I grew up as a kid, very active.
Yeah.
Through high school, Tito was in sports. I was in sports in high school. In college, I was in sports also. If you play the sport, chances are you watch it professionally.
Yes.
You understand it professionally.
At the very least, we have like an appreciation for it.
Yeah, there's an appreciation. If you don't have a devotion to it,
Yeah.
then again, like Tito said, you have appreciation, you have a respect for people having the ability to do it at an incredibly high level to the point where they're just raking in cash, and they establish themselves, like Messi, like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You're talking about athletes that not only were good in their sport, but they've established themselves as global brands.
Right. Great amongst the 1%.
Everybody knows who those guys are. Yeah. And then you take a sport like, for example, the Olympics. Summer games are once every 4 years.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if you go through the outskirts of the world where if they have access to a TV, they probably knew who Michael Phelps was.
Yeah, Usain Bolt.
Because Usain Bolt, Mark Spitz, from a while back. But you think about Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time.
Right.
The guy that dominated his sport the same way Ronaldo dominated soccer, the way Barry Bonds dominated the offensive side of baseball.
Right.
Steroids aside.
Barry Bonds,
which in on himself was such an entertaining period of baseball, man.
We were talking about it earlier today, dude. We were talking
so much fun. I see a lot of people on Twitter. He's like, "Bring back the Roids era, bro."
Right. You were saying,
bring back the Roids. I'm like, me. If you ask me, I'm like, I'm up for it. That make the game a lot more entertaining.
There's like a group of people because like. You have pro sports, right? Oh, performance-enhancing drugs. Oh, no. But there was, like, one guy online that was like, why don't we start a league where we let them do whatever the hell they want and see what the human body can do when we do let them... Like, how strong
they'll die at
48,
but...
They probably will.
Right? Just like, oh, you know... Like,
it'll probably be worth it to them, though. But yeah, like I said, that's probably why I lean one way or another.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could say it 100%, but again, if the tables were flipped, I'd probably be on the opposite end. But it's just how it panned out on my end.
Yeah, because I lean sports. Well, I mean, I don't lean any
in this
nerd culture at all, but I lean sports because of that. I didn't grow up with like cartoons. I didn't grow up with any of that. I was watching like sports exclusively as a little kid. So by the time I did get cable, I was looking for ESPN. I wasn't looking for like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel or Cartoon Network.
I would say for you, like it's because you do sports and then like the music and hip hop stuff is like your other.
Oh yeah,
you're into both, and I would say you lean sports among the two, but you have a very deep appreciation for hip hop and rap and music in general. I would say,
and stand-up comedy.
Yeah, that too, exactly.
That's true because there is like an artistic side that I enjoy,
right.
But I do think like Victor, I didn't grow up with. Like, my mom thought it was a waste of money to buy, like, I'm not going to buy you a card. I'm not going to buy you playing cards. We need to buy milk. We need to buy food.
Right.
Like, that's a waste of money. And you're like, well, I mean, I'm 7. Like, what am I going to do?
There's not much you could do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I do think, like, there is that leaning, right? Like, there is that leaning where one or the other.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to navigate both.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I think it's just the way, I mean, your upbringing and so on and so forth, it has a decent amount to do with what you end up immersing yourself with down the road. Like you said, it doesn't have to be so much nerd culture and sports. It could be, like I said, different genres.
Yeah,
it
art,
could be music.
art or whatever.
For me, I would say like sports, music, and nerd culture.
Yeah, I mean,
the three out of their spot. Like,
I grew up.
Where do you lean though? Where do you
lean?
lean?
Music, because like music is like it's.
But
what
nerd
I do.
culture and sports.
I would say nerd culture. For me, sports, I would say it is on the back burner because it does take up like a lot of time, and like the sports run at a certain time of day, right?
Yeah,
you can go on and look up highlights and whatever, but it's like
not the same. Yeah,
right. Like we've talked about it. When the Canelo fight is on, I usually miss the fights. I watch them the day after because I'm not playing a gig.
Right.
And for like nerd culture, it's like I can easily fire up Max or Hulu and be like, I'm gonna catch up on this. I'm gonna,
Oh yeah, accessibility. Yeah, exactly. And the ability to watch. I mean, like for example, mine. When I get home, I'm probably going to continue to watch Fallout.
Yeah, right.
Because this trend that's going on where they're adapting
and all that. Yeah.
Not only that, but specifically they're starting to adapt more video games into TV shows. Like you said, Last of Us, Halo is a TV show now. Fallout is another one that's actually doing incredibly well.
Like prequel.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
So, what about you, Angel? Like
back?
the way you grew up, you lean what nerd culture for that reason, or is it for just specifically enjoyment?
Well, actually, if you're saying enjoyment, I'll probably be enjoyment because I didn't grow up with cable.
Okay,
I grew up watching cartoons Saturday mornings, but the rest of the week I didn't have cartoon. But because of the enjoyment, I actually spend my money on not DVDs but the VHS. And then later on, the DVDs came out, like Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
And the cool thing about that, because the series, they take them out like in certain episodes, and so one season they split it into 6 DVDs, and each DVD had a different little picture on the end of it. And you collect all 6, then you complete like a whole picture.
Gotcha.
So I remember that caught my attention. So I wanted to spend all my money on that. And then
to collect them,
because we will play basketball in middle school together.
Yeah.
But I was still more into the Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all that.
You were ready to like get that birthday money and go buy the next.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I'll go to 7-Eleven and drop all my pennies on a pack of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it is on your attention. That's what caught my attention.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and you know, there's another. I mean, between sports and nerd culture. I mean, I grew up a musician as well. So you know, there's also an angle where, you know, I have a deep immersion to music. You can talk about Oscar Robertson, Miles Davis, you know, all of the big jazz guys. You know, going to see Dirty Loops yesterday, and their ability to put in their insanely their talented gives into songs from back then. And it was one of the things that I noticed too, how in regards to age, how diverse the crowd was. There's a lot of white-haired people out there,
right?
But you know, I noticed that, you know, I was telling Tito that you know, people really didn't know the lyrics to their like original music.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's fine. That's there's no issue there. But people were out there because there's a group. They got popular on YouTube because their musicianship is insane, and you know, part of why they got popular is because their own spin on their own spin on classic hits, you know, like Thriller. And also modern songs. Their spins on them were just like, oh dang, man! I didn't know you could even do something like this.
Their level of virtuosity merged with those pop covers, it was something fresh, and people were
something was like, hey, you know what I want to see is, I'm here because I want to watch these guys jam out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know their lyrics so much. I haven't been into them for so long, but just listening to their ability to play, their abilities when it came to playing, it's like, oh, I got to see how they do these things live. I got to see these things in my own two eyes.
Right.
And again, it was kind of refreshing to see, you know, a lot of people that have a deep understanding and deep appreciation for certain genres, you know, jazz and so on and so forth. See a band that has the ability to fuse old school jazz to, you know, new age electronic sounds and so on and so forth, which isn't easy to do. It's intricate. To say what they do is very complicated to say the least, but they could pull it off, and they sound really, 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 really good at doing it. So music on my end, you know, it's a big part because, again, I grew up also playing music. You know, being in a church setting for such a long time, being exposed to, you know, contemporary, to gospel. Being aligned with services that are structured versus services that are completely free-flowing.
Right.
Where services, in a blink of an eye, 4 hours go past and you don't even feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, how did 4 hours just go? I got here at 9, I'm getting out at 2. Like, oh, man, that's... Okay, I don't know, it's like, what happened? It was just like a little blip. So, I mean... For me, there's more than just the two. I'd say, you know, those two, they occupy pretty much everything.
It's cool seeing like where they're at and where they live. Because like, even like with Garrick, right? We talked about the connection between like rap and basketball.
Oh yeah, that's a big one too.
Right? Yeah, there's like the intersection.
Right. Right. And then there are even got like there's you guys know, like, I'm sure you guys probably heard of like Waka Flocka. Like Waka Flocka like is like a big Dragon Ball Z guy. Like he has like little like collectibles of like Kid Goku, right?
Yeah.
You guys know about Thundercat. Thundercat is dressed up in like Dragon Ball Z outfits when he performs. And so it's like there's like a
that intersection
and it's pretty cool seeing it. You know, I've heard stories of like Jaco Pastorius, like legendary electric bass player, playing crazy jazz fusion, right? And in between sessions, he and his bandmates would go shoot hoops, right?
Interesting.
He even became a bass player because he was a drummer. He broke his wrist playing football with his friends, and he was in a band. His bass player left the band. He couldn't play drums, and he thought, "Oh, I'll take up bass," and he becomes one of the best ever. But they're like in the sports,
right?
And so it's kind of funny, like navigating.
Yeah, those intersections and where they meet,
because even
and all
like,
that.
For me, I'm sure even Victor can relate, or even like Angel, right? Like you're into music, right? You're into these niche genres. You might meet other musicians, and it's happened to me. Like I'm talking to musicians, blah blah, you know, and then I might run into another friend that I know who's not a musician. They like music maybe, but they might be like, "Hey, bro, did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you see like, you know, like whatever happened, blah blah? Oh, the NBA Finals," and me having some background in sports,
Right.
I can. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Broke the record, blah blah. And my musician friends, that are like pure music guys, they'll be like, "Oh, David, like he's sporty, like he likes sports too."
Right.
And some of the guys, like the diehards in each one, are a little baffled whenever they see the intersectionality. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of cool to see, you know.
Dave, do you lean what, nerd culture?
Yeah, I would say so.
And that's because what?
I grew up watching it.
Okay.
I mean, I did sometimes see football. But that's when my brother was there. But when he wasn't around, I would just watch cartoons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is Kodo. You lean what? Sports or nerd culture?
Sports.
So, because there is that level, like, there is that like component of just like,
Yeah. There's a split for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's where you get the true passion, the real passion, that actual like, this is what I'm into, you know? Because there is like the level of, you guys have music. That's the avenue. That's the avenue for the four of you. The music aspect, the creative aspect that you kind of go out of it. And to me, is the preaching aspect, which is very
Right.
artistic in a sense, because you got to formulate these words and you got to put these sentences together where it's almost like writing a song without the music, without the track, and a lot of it is you.
There's craft.
Well, all of it is you, not a lot of it. Like all of it is you.
Yeah.
And there is like this like level of, I'm gonna take you through this like sermon, and I'm gonna like lift you up here. I'm gonna bring you down here, and I'm gonna like you're going through this avenue,
journey, if you will.
Yeah, and sometimes like it happened. Like Tuesday, I was teaching on Abraham and Isaac. I was teaching on Abraham and Isaac, and I like built it, and I was pretty much establishing this isn't about idolatry. This is a story about obedience, not idolatry. Don't make it about idolatry, because that's not the central theme of this. But I also know next week, this coming Tuesday, I got to teach on it again. So if I give you all of it here, I got nothing next week. And so it's almost like this like artistry to like build it, and you're kind of like formulating, and you're kind of going through the book
When
knowing
to hold them, when to fold them, if you will. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
Right.
You gotta pick the battles.
Yeah, and music,
right.
In a song, you're kind of going through those valleys, those up and downs, where you start off here, and maybe the song starts off really dark, or it starts high tempo, and then it ends like really low, and then because it builds for the next track. And so I think in all of it, there is a avenue, which is interesting between us. There is an avenue of the expression of it comes out, because I view preaching very like sports, very competitive. Like I'll listen to a preacher, and I'll
you
be
size them up. You're like, oh man,
yeah, and a lot of it is because of the sports aspect,
right?
Where I'll think like top 5 preachers. Who is it? I'll listen to a guy and I'll think, is he better than me? I think he's better than me. Or I'll look like, oh no, I think I'm better. And I think there is that level component, that component where I've also like met people who don't view music in that way. Don't view music competitively. Don't view it.
Right.
And it's almost say like, bro, we all live here.
Right.
And they make music and I make music, and it's all happy and it's all good, and we're just enjoying all of it. And to me, it's like, okay,
Cole apologizing.
Yeah. And to me, though, it's like, okay, but which one is better? What's best? But again, that's like the sports of it, competition.
Right.
Yeah.
And like we talked about when we did the music pod, and my question was always like, do you look at another musician and say, I'm better than you?
100%.
And like, not every, I think Pete was the one that said, no, I don't see it that way. I don't view it that way. I don't perceive it that way. You said you did, right? You size it up. You size them up? No. So Dave doesn't do it. So I think there is that component of like, depending on where we're at, depending on how that expression comes about, it is a very different dynamic.
For sure.
And that's interesting to the core. Do you guys have a final thought?
Final thought. Shout out to these canned zero sugar Coca-Cola Jack Daniels. These are,
Good old Jack and Coke.
That's all I got.
Shout out to them.
I may or may not have been sipping on one or two during this pod. So yeah, but shout out to them.
3. Dave was counting.
Dang.
Jesus
wait,
Christ,
hold on.
bro.
One was Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Relax.
I had one too, but it emptied out for some reason. I don't know.
All of it came out.
A little duende kept sipping out.
A little duende?
A duende, bro.
I saw like 3 cans going to that cup, bro.
Dave, chill, bro.
No, I mean, there's definitely for me on my end when it comes to nerd. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm like blanking already.
You gotta find the final thought first.
It's my Jerry Springer
It
final
might be
thought.
his next sip of Jack and Coke.
No, they're empty, they're gone, so I don't have any more thoughts left. But between nerd culture and sports fandom, and I think we're seeing a larger area where those two things just intersecting, kind of intertwining and forming parts of each other's identity. I think it's I don't want to say it's like the best thing in the world. It's been interesting, I think, to say the least, because now, like for example, baseball is sabermetrical now. It's crazy. I'm not super sure how you say things, but I don't really see sabermetrics playing as big a role in other sports as it hasn't. Not to say that it doesn't. It does, but not as much as it has in baseball. Baseball, it's like you've had rules to clamp down. Well, I guess you could say not necessarily clamp down on sabermetrics, but have definitely affected sabermetrics, especially with this whole the pace of play rules in baseball. Not the pitch clock, although that's done a big deal to shorten the games. But in particular, the rule where when you bring in a reliever, they have to face a minimum of 3 batters.
Right, yeah.
Or they have to get out of the inning for a new pitcher to come, or they have to have like a freak accident or something. I don't know. And I think on that end, you can still bring a pitcher for a matchup. But if you want to face one particular guy with one particular pitcher, you don't have that option anymore. You have to face like 3 guys, unless if the inning is set up to be finished with that one-on-one matchup.
Yeah.
So it's again, I don't think that rule is made with sabermetrics in mind. It's more of a pace of play kind of thing, because especially like in the postseason before these rules kicked in, there was a switch. There was a pitcher change for every single batter. That's what it felt like. And then these games started taking like 4.5 hours long, dude. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man, I thought it was bad enough with regular season being 3 hours, because you started a game at around like 10 past 7. You weren't if you were planning to stay the whole game.
You're leaving at 11.
You're leaving at the earliest 10. And if you go into extra innings, then you can stay there the whole night.
Exactly.
You have a sleepover out there. So again, it was more of a pace of play kind of thing. But sabermetrics, particularly in baseball with Moneyball, of course. If you guys haven't seen Moneyball,
it's a great movie.
Watch movie.
Yeah, I think the numbers and the sabermetrics ruin baseball because of the arguments. I think what makes like football great, basketball great, soccer great, is we can have an argument Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You can have it, and you can throw the numbers, but a lot of it will come down to instinct. I think he's better because he is more competitive, he's more complete, he's this, and all of us could be right. You can do basketball, and you get the Jordan camp, you get the LeBron camp, and you can, like, go to war. And in football, the same. You can, like, make those arguments for, like, who's better, Josh Allen or Burrow. Like, I'm not going to touch Mahomes because he's above those guys. But, like, you could make those arguments, and those arguments are very, like, accepting. And
exactly. There's arguments to be made.
Where in baseball, there's no arguments, and I think that's why it's not fun. Because it's like, well, no, Otani's better because here are his numbers across the board, close case, and you're just like...
It's just, for me, on the Otani front, I just think the guy's like a...
For the record, I think Trout is number one still. But
no, Trout.
It is what it
no,
is.
especially given the start of the season, the guy has a hot. I've been telling my friends that are Angels fans, like, bro, he's not going to finish the year. By the time the middle of the year comes up, he's going to get traded. And it's
Who?
like
Trout?
Yeah.
You really think so?
If he's interested, for me, if he's interested in winning a championship, he's asking for a trade. He's got to get out of there. I know they backed up the Brinks truck for the guy,
Look,
and if he's like, for example, if he's talking about like financial security, so on and so forth, then he's fine.
Right.
Nobody's making that argument.
I'm the guy that's been saying, Trout, please walk up to Artie Moreno and say, hey, can you please trade me? I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it.
For me, if he's interested in winning a ring,
well, if he was interested, he would have done it 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good argument because I'm like, how much lower can the Angels go?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, no, there's no 100%.
I hope you're right
correct.
though. I hope he says.
I
Get
hope
me
I'm
out
right
of
too because
here.
that would be. I think it would be so good.
And
for
then the
game.
Giants come in and they like trade for him, and you get like Ohtani versus Trout.
That's about must-watch TV right there, man. Everybody's gonna want to watch those games. But
I would say Red Sox, but the Red Sox are stupid and like, oh, we can't afford him. Ooh.
Are they pumping their money into Liverpool?
They're pumping it to someone. I don't know. I think they're saving
not
it.
the Red
I
Sox,
think they're
though.
saving it for the Vegas team. Because I think they're going to be the
That's
guys
good.
that buy the NBA
actually
team
true.
that goes in Vegas. I think that's what they're doing.
Fenway
think that's
Sports
what's
Group
happening.
venturing out a little bit more.
It's awful.
But
Yeah, I was excited when they bought Milan, but no.
yikes.
I remember I told you, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, no.
Yeah, he was excited. I was like, oh, man,
Yeah,
Disappointment.
But,
Disappointment.
The space of intersecting in between sports and nerd culture continues to expand.
Yeah.
And part of it too is just accommodating the newer generations as well. It's like it's the age old question that these companies have to ask themselves, like, hey, okay, so we've been able to make it work with this generation, but these newer guns are coming up. It's like, how do we adapt it to how they see things, socially and so on and so forth, worldviews, and like, how do we adapt it to this crowd that's coming up? Because at the end of the day, the other guys, they're gonna die. Everybody's gonna die off. The older generations are gonna die off. You're starting to hear about in the political spectrum. You're starting to hear about these people from the millennial generation starting to take up positions.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, the first, I think it was, what's her name? She was the press secretary under Trump. I think it was Sarah Sanders. Became governor of Arkansas, the first millennial to become governor in this country.
Yeah,
so now you're starting to hear that they're
It's
starting to put their foot into positions of power.
Yeah.
So again, now you have to ask yourself, you're selling a product that has transcended generations, and I'm pretty sure that those same providers, they ask themselves, just like they asked themselves back then, how are we going to adapt this to the boomer generation? How are we going to adapt this to Gen X? How are we going to adapt this to millennials and so on and so forth?
And you're getting also our generation became really progressive. The generation that came after us pushed the progressive a little more, and then they pushed it off the cliff. And now you're seeing kind of, now you're seeing the pushback.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing
it's kind of a
people
correction.
are coming, but
it's kind of a correction because I think
Yeah.
honestly, it's just like with anything.
Right.
If it goes too far a certain direction,
And it's
no matter
incorrect.
what direction,
Well, look at like transfer portals in like college sports.
Oh, see, that's a
right?
big
For
one.
the longest, I did a paper in high school about how college should have been paid, right? Those players.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing,
it's off. Yeah.
I was in
this such and such quarterback bought a Lamborghini because he got a deal, an NIL deal. Boom, and you're hearing coaches saying, "Dude, it's really changing the face of the game because now these kids, if you say something they don't like or like whatever the case
into the transfer portal,
they're
I
not
go.
started, whatever, they're gonna be benched. I'm hitting that portal, bro, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
That's a big one
the best
because
thing, and it's just like
because going through it's like even up until high school, I was in that position where I think it was more on my end for a lack of understanding, but for me was like, I don't think college athletes should get paid. Scholarship and all of the housing and
right.
So it should be enough. But then I started looking at the numbers, in particular the men's NCAA basketball tournament, the amount of money they rake in, and I'm like, dude, how do you not pay these? It completely flip flops.
Generated.
Yeah.
But then it like flips again,
and it's like
it's like this like constant flip.
because it's getting you're starting to see it go a little nuts.
Yeah.
You saw. I think Shedeur bought a Cybertruck.
Cybertruck, yeah.
Like, what's he doing with a Cybertruck?
He's a college guy. Like, how?
So it was even to the point where there was such a change to where you had the Supreme Court as divided as they are in ideological lines on certain things. They voted unanimously, telling the NCAA, hey, you gotta at least let these people, at least these athletes, make money off of their likeness, out of their image.
Right.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, we're not forcing you to pay them directly. Although eventually, I think that's coming. Right. You're hearing about unionization.
Monetize their person.
Yeah. How are you gonna go after them by monetizing themselves?
Right.
Like you can't. I mean, it was a 9-0. It was a unanimous decision by the Supreme.
Yeah.
They in the Supreme Court. So it was like,
yeah, this is crazy.
Wait, what? You guys are. It's like you guys are actually like a bunch of Nazis, dude.
Yeah.
You guys like, tone it down a little bit. Let them at least do this. But now you're seeing things be like
get super out of control.
Dang, yeah.
And I think also you get just the simple fact that Joe Rogan is now considered conservative. It's just
Joe Rogan.
It's just that component.
I didn't know. I really.
And it's like nuts.
I really did on the Joe Rogan front. Obviously, I think I'm assuming he still has the world's most popular podcast.
Oh yeah.
I would assume.
By far.
And the things that he speaks of, people, name him as a conservative. Look, honestly, I didn't even know Joe Rogan thought that way that he thought, and I'm not saying that I'm not defining him as a conservative or anything.
Right.
For crying out loud, the only thing I knew that guy for was being the host of Fear Factor.
Yeah, Fear Factor. Yeah,
I was like
UFC later.
Yeah, UFC, and I'm like, now this guy has like the most popular podcast on the planet. He's raking. I know Spotify is taking care of him, to say the least, financially. I know that guy's raking in mad money.
Yeah.
And you get little snippets here and there of things that I guess you consider controversial that are being said. But it's like, wait, I didn't even know his podcast existed until
just snippets. It's just
you see little things here
clips,
and there, and the people that would the guests that he would bring on and so on and so forth. But that's all I knew the guy for Fear Factor. Right. My dad loved watching it, so in turn, I ended up watching a lot of it. But yeah, I mean, just going back on nerd culture and sports, I think you're just going to continue to see up to a certain point, up until where there's possibly pushback from people.
Yeah.
A little bit more marrying of the two as time goes on. Now, since sabermetrics have been deployed, since live betting odds have been plastered all over the screens, I haven't seen much else. I don't know if there is much else to deploy on that realm. But if there is, I'm pretty sure we're going to hear about it.
Right.
And I think of it too, just like most things, it's kind of like a feel it out process.
Yeah, and I think we're at the. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else baseball would do to add.
I don't know either.
But yeah,
I'm pretty sure they've got.
Is
I mean, these professional baseball franchises. Unless if you're Oakland, I know they have legions of people just studying stats, studying matchups.
Yeah. The fact that these baseball teams are hiring mathematicians just tells you everything you need to know
people
about.
that would, by all means, consider by all means be considered as nerds, straight up.
It's
like, this guy's nerd out. This guy's going to tell me the numbers. This guy's going to tell me the numbers on
who
these
gets
things.
on base.
I've seen another thing where I've seen nerd culture and like old school kind of intertwined. Law and Order as a series by the name of Organized Crime. I'm not super sure if you've heard of it, but it's with Christopher Meloni having being underneath a division of I think it still is the NYPD. No, yeah, it's the NYPD. With an emphasis on taking down, organized crime, syndicates, so on and so forth. So in the recent episodes, in this recent season, they've I think Chris Wolf has adopted this storyline where they brought in a guy that's kind of nerdy. He's like, the guy looks like he's in his 30s, mid 30s. He's kind of nerdy, but he's introducing all of this new technology, AI, for the most part. Combine AI with an old school cop like his character named Stabler.
Yeah.
A lot of pushback from the old school is like, well, I'm not going to adopt this. I'm going to do this my way because it's worked up until now, and so on and so forth. But as the season has progressed, you've seen him kind of warm up to these new nerdy tools. He was so cold to the nerd. It was pretty messed up. It's pretty funny too. But now he's kind of like taking them on. Like he's like, you know what? There's use for this.
Right.
There's the nerd stuff is in. I myself may not have a complete. Myself may never have a complete understanding of how these things work. There's actually use to it, and I think I should be in a position where I'm going to want to embrace it because this is kind of where where things are going.
Yeah.
And if I don't embrace it, I'll probably be left behind. Not to say that old school tactics are ever going to go out of style. Every single old school tactic is ever going to go out, ever going to go out of style.
Right.
But with these new things coming out, there's up to a certain point, you're gonna have to adopt these new things.
Right.
Like if you're a baseball team right now that hasn't adopted sabermetrics, it's like I think it'd be in your best interest to at the very least.
Yeah, you're super behind. Yeah.
At the very least give it a go.
Yeah, it's a whole evolve or die.
Exactly, evolve or die.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's like just like any sport, in boxing too. You have those first couple rounds where you're feeling each other out. Next couple rounds after that, you're at that point, you should have been able to identify an exploit.
Right.
Or vulnerability and exploit it at that point. And it's up to the other boxer to adapt themselves to what you're doing, or at that point, it's up to that boxer to plug up that vulnerability. If you don't, you're going to be on the mat. Yeah. And 10 seconds are going to go by and that's it.
Right.
You're cooked.
Yeah.
So that's it's.
Wait, are we still talking baseball and like
just
what'd you call it? Cybermetrics or sabermetrics?
Cybermetrics.
Cybermetrics. Saber.
It's sabermetrics.
Bro, I thought we were on the final thoughts. That's why I went to.
It's a final thought. It's a long thought.
It's an extended final thought. Dang. But
final thought episode 1.
Yeah, the final thought episode 1. But it's good to see. It's just, again, we're feeling it out, and I think that just as time goes on, we're pretty good at adapting ourselves, as humans, and whatever's gonna work is gonna stick.
Yeah,
probably be expanded on, and whatever doesn't work is either not the right time or it's just gonna be an afterthought. Just like
you get weeded out if it doesn't work usually.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but. Again, because markets it's just so massive,
right?
And, they stick around for a while, and sometimes, especially, it's very entertaining to see when it completely gets rejected, because that's when you really do have that old school versus new school clash. That's when the clashes are at their height.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how it works. Like
it's very interesting.
The dynamics, because like in music, for example, like you hear guys talk about analog versus digital. That's like a big thing.
That is a big thing.
The technology used for effects pedals, recording, right? Like you have some of these, like we mentioned groups like the guys I mentioned that you guys probably went to high school with, like the Alton, Sinceres. Those groups, they pride themselves on we record with tape still. Oh, we're gonna release the music on vinyl. Like that's gonna be, and it's it's funny. I had a professor that would she would hear students in class talking about vinyl, collecting. Oh, I'm gonna collect. I'm gonna get this record on vinyl. Blah blah. And there's one younger guy in class too that'd be like, man, like vinyl's coming back, huh? Like it's making its way back. And my professor, who's like, she's like in her 60s, right? She's like, vinyl never left. It never left. Like, I've been on the vinyl. Like, no, like you whippersnappers are you're just finding out. And I'm like, dang, okay, cool, you know. But that's funny.
Yeah. Do you have a final thought, Angel?
For me, yeah, I'll probably have to say, when nerd culture, one thing that had a big impact with me was with the video games, because I enjoyed the cartoons.
Right.
But when it came to the video games, like for example, it started with Pokemon, with the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, bro, if I was Ash, I would have never picked Pikachu. So then,
right.
So I'll start with someone different.
Bro,
there you
I've
go.
been taking those L's for years, bro. He didn't win a championship.
Yeah, so
like
when roleplay came a thing, I think that expanded my mind with the whole
kind of
because I was able to be a character in that world.
That makes sense.
I think that made a huge impact.
Kind of an
even now,
version
even
of
to
like
now.
the open world. Like it's not open world. Like you're in a region, right? Council region, Johto, whatever it is. But it's like you get to be the creator of your destiny with like
for sure.
Starter, how you're gonna raise your team.
Yeah, for sure. Like if I had Pikachu, like I'll want to evolve him into Raichu, not like Ash.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna teach you the speed moves. Yeah. You're gonna learn quick attack, and then you're gonna evolve in a Raichu, and you're gonna be.
Yeah, so I think that had a huge impact with me, like the role play.
That makes
even
sense.
Today.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And now it's even like because there's that one game. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like it's literally open world, like where you can fly off your planet and go to other planets.
Starfield.
Is it Starfield? I'm not sure, but like when I first heard the concept, like in school,
the one that started with me, I don't know if you heard of it, Fable. It's old. It's old. So basically, it was open concept. Open that you could decide to do the right or to do the wrong.
Yeah, see, that was like huge for me.
Yeah,
like they're making games now where it's like.
Well, Fallout was like that.
Right. It's like
I'm talking Fable was. I'm talking about like 2002, 2000.
So it's pretty cool. Like you said, like the evolve or die, or just like the progression. It's like I remember when like online gaming became a thing with like the Xbox or like the PlayStation systems.
Right.
Like it was always a thing with PCs somewhat. But when I would hear friends saying, "Hey, you're gonna like," because I haven't played much video games, but Call of Duty, you play Call of Duty like on an Xbox or PlayStation, whatever it is, right? And then I would hear kids in school saying like, "Hey, so you gonna be online later?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, they must be playing like RuneScape or something, right? Or whatever, right? If you know, you know." Yeah. But then like, no, Call of Duty. We're gonna see on Call of Duty, and I'm just like, "Oh, you can do that online now with your buddies. You have like a gamer tag." It's like, so when I hear like Eliezer saying, "Hey, hop on Fortnite," and I'm just like, "Oh wow, like you can do that now."
Right.
It's progressed, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," you know. So
yeah. So I mean, that'll be my final thought.
From humble beginnings with like an Atari, you know.
You have a final thought, Dave? No.
Happy birthday, Tito.
Dave's ready to go.
Yeah, my final thought. Happy birthday, David. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. This is super fun.
Honored that you were willing to come here and enjoy yourself,
of course,
with us. And that's it.
Man, that's fun.
Good deal.
That's it. Kodo, you got anything to say?
Man, that was a long final thought. Happy birthday. I guess that's your birthday gift, the final thought.
There you go. I'll talk to you guys on Thursday with David. We'll have something. Enjoy the playoffs. I'll talk to you later.
Right?
And Gehrig.
Me and Gehrig. We're doing NBA, and we're going to have to do more rap. Because
Rick
Ross is out here. Drake is out here. Soon Kendrick will be back out here again with the rebuttals.
We'll see what Gehrig has for us in terms of excusing.
Someone drag Soulja Boy out of bed. I need another Soulja Boy Breakfast Club interview with Charlamagne.
There you go.
Drake?
We'll talk to you guys later. That's the pod. We are brought to you by, as always, Triumph Protective Coatings. They specialize in concrete polish, epoxy flooring systems, micro top floors and walls, and self-leveling underlays. They service California, and they speak Spanish. You can follow them, Triumph_Coatings on Instagram, and you get a 10% off if you use the promo code ARROWSUP. You can also reach them on Gmail, triumphprotectivecoatings@gmail.com.
That's the pod. Thank you to Angel for the music, for being on this pod. For David, Escamilla, for Aaron, Victor, Kodo, Eliezer, and Dave Lopez, who was on the pod. He produced it, connected everything, mic check, everything. So shout out to him. This pod doesn't get done if it wasn't for him. So big shout out to him. Thank you. And Triumph. Thank you to Triumph. So I will have another pod for you Thursday where we break down the NBA, do a little preview of all of it. We're for sure going to talk about the wrap stuff that's happening because Garrick will be on, and that will be the pod. So thank you for listening. Arrows Up Podcast on Instagram, Arrows Up. And you can follow us, subscribe to our channel on anywhere, any platform you listen to podcasts. So please rate, review, and subscribe. And I will talk to you again on Thursday and hopefully Sunday with Harry. So until next time, let's go Lakers. Hala Madrid.